Welcome back, everybody, once again to the PUBG Mobile Club Open. I'm, of course, Devin Pyrotanks Young, and this fine gentleman next to me is Tom, we free men, Pickering. He is multiple men.
All right, yeah, multiple men.
Multiple casters, in fact.
You got to be. You got to be that magnificent. I can't even speak. The great voice of the We Free Men, plural, of course. Ben,
you've got multiple voices too. You've been showing me off.
Well,
off
exactly.
You guys, seriously, it's a treat. Hopefully, you can sneak a couple of them in to the show as well. It'll be pretty good stuff.
Yeah, getting the flight going across. I need to practice like an anchorman. Like a weatherman's
Ooh.
Okay,
maybe we can send it off to each other a little bit. Like, how's the weather down there? It's a hail of bullets. Good stuff. We've had a lot actually.
South. Yeah, exactly. You know what? And I'm excited. Today, we get to compare another two groups against the magnificent. There you go. I did get it eventually.
You did finally.
Results of yesterday.
Especially TRD, the real deal. They really stepped up in Group A and B. Now, C and D will be coming up today. This is, of course, the MEA region of the PMCO 2019. So, the Middle Eastern region has been very competitive. It's been really cool to see, but that was only the first two groups. I really do want to see how they stand up in this particular instance. So take a look at the way the tournament rules are played out right now. Placement is key. You get 30 points for getting in the first place position. Compare that to all the way down in the bottom half. We are looking at single digits. And it's very important.
Yeah, and even 0 points for 16th place there, Devin. It's not really so good if you do manage to low down there. But I do think we have actually gone down to about 14 teams total that are playing at the moment in yesterday's game, so it'll be interesting to see how many teams do turn up today. Hopefully all 16, and unfortunate for the people who do land in 16, and if they do drop it down to 16, they have to get a minimum of 30 kills to match up with the top points there, which would be horrendous. But we can have a look at the results of the wins yesterday.
Yeah, and of course going in our schedule. So yesterday it was groups A and B. We saw Seven Reef Team, The Real Deal, MBZ, Falcons, and Kurt Squad all taking top spots. Chicken dinners all around. Today we will be seeing the remainder of the ME regions groups in C and D, starting of course with the same matches, same maps I should say. It starts with Vikendi, then goes over to Miramar, and then finally we round it out with 2 rounds on Erangel.
Yeah, it was a really interesting day, and it's going to be interesting to see if the sort of same gun choices reflect back onto these matches as well. Like Vikendi was very much compound to compound, Russian with Uzis and ARs, no real sort of sniper rifles or DMRs used, or very rarely, in fact, maybe 1 or 2 players, compared to sort of Miramar and Erangel, where we saw the snipers more commonly used.
Yeah, we did. It started to change up, and I think it speaks to something you mentioned yesterday. A lot of these teams looked at the map pools, or very likely looked at the map pools and thought, wait a second, Erangel is half the maps we're going to be playing in the course of this group stage. Why don't we just practice a lot more for that? So it did seem like the players and the teams kind of had a little bit more comfort on that, and they were starting to pick up some more of those guns for the long-range battles, as opposed to the spray and pray style that we saw in the case of Vikendi and, in some cases, Miramar.
Yeah, Miramar was really interesting. It's not just then about the gun choices, it's about them practicing their routes with the cars. If they'd actually gone through and specifically trained on Miramar as well as the Erangel preference, and sort of realized that the cars were so important on Miramar, which we did see a lot of. We saw some interesting pushes with the vehicles as well, which sometimes worked out, sometimes didn't.
Yeah, that's very true. All right, let's take a look at the teams that will be representing today in Groups C and D. We have KA Squad, F16, Nox, 963, 69 SWAT. There's also a SWAT 69. They're different teams, though, I swear. Zahi Balada, ME Assassins, the SMP, United Nation, KWT, LND, 46 Loot, Headhunter, Life to Kill Squad, and Light Pirates. Now, yesterday we actually had quite a lot of different countries represented in our groups. Today it's even more. We have 11 unique countries across the Middle East represented in these squads, including the likes of Turkey, Israel, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, Syria, Kuwait, Bahrain. I believe it is Headhunter. That is the team representing Bahrain, and they're the only ones in this group, in this tournament, that represent that country. So a lot of different countries showing up here. It's really cool to see so many different players from across the world competing at what looks to be a very high level of PUBG Mobile.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see which team comes out on top. So, well, I guess region rather, because we do have a few teams that are sort of duplicates, and then we have the ones which are obviously the only unique teams representing their country in this whole tournament. So, they're here to show themselves up for the country, and if they can perform, it'd be fantastic. Obviously, a huge prize pool at the end of the goal. We're still
2.5 million once the global finals all commences. I mean, that's insane.
Go on, that's enough to buy quite a few phones if you don't happen to have them.
Of course, but you have phones, right? Everybody's got a phone, I would hope.
Exactly.
I mean, that's how they're playing this game, so you have to think they do it, but they can definitely upgrade their hardware several times over.
Yeah, and so just to mention, sort of on the rule set, it is only mobiles. That is what everyone should be using for this. So it's pretty impressive how accurate some of these players are when you take in consideration they're playing with their thumbs. And I I'm not that great at it. It's taking.
It's hard.
Still
Even
taking
with
me a
aim
while.
assist, it actually is quite difficult.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
very different getting used to compared to using a mouse and keyboard, for instance. So
Yeah.
seeing the players really deliver in those clutch situations, especially the likes of the real deal,
Yeah.
is really crazy. But they also have impressive tactics. So looking forward to seeing if any of the teams can kind of step up to that sort of level as well. And now, if you want more information, of course, on all the teams playing across all the regions, you can, of course, go to clubopen.pubgmobile.com for all the information, including VODs, so you can catch up on all the action you might have missed. Good stuff.
Go and do it. Watch us, see our beautiful faces, and also all the other regions. There's quite a few going on. There's EU going on at the same time right now. So if you want to go see what the Europeans are up to,
We've seen India earlier today, a very powerful region for PUBG Mobile. We've been seeing also a wildcard region representing most of the rest of the world. North America's going on at the same time. And of course, if you want to get all that action, catch up on all of it, don't forget to smash that subscribe button down at the bottom of the YouTube channel is youtube.com/PUBGMobile Esports for all the information going forward as well.
Easy peasy, and don't forget to ding dong that bell notification symbol at the top.
Oh, that's very important. I always forget to do that, and then I see 6 live channels, and I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't know things were on. Don't be like me. Hit the notification button.
It's actually really important because they changed the way it works. I'm not going to dive into it now, but yeah, make sure to take that. Otherwise, YouTube won't even bother to tell you that.
It's very rude of YouTube when you think about it. Yeah. But at least they give you the option to make sure you set it up, so it's good stuff. And of course, we're on a couple of different channels as well. But really looking forward to seeing how the different regions do stack up when we do get an international play. But that is a long ways away. Right now, it is all about the teams in their own regions competing against one another. 4 groups of 8 teams. 32. Out of them, only 1 team representing the Middle East will be able to make it into the global finals. We have plenty of weeks of play. But, I mean, already there's some teams putting up a very big mark for that. You look at the likes of the real deal yesterday. They're out in front pretty significantly in the standings. But if anyone can catch them, that'll be really cool to see.
Yeah, and we've obviously got in the top 6, they're all unique regions. There's not a single team that is, not 2 teams that are from the same region. So there's a lot of representation. There's a lot of representation. It's not just one country that's taken the win. And like the real deal TRD, their sort of strats are absolutely amazing. We did see in the last game yesterday, they did dip down. And it's going to be interesting to see if we see the same sort of pattern emerge from today's games, because we're obviously very brand new to these groups of players, teams rather. And
they might be new to some of the maps as well. We did see some strategies evolve over time, right? But in TRD's case, the tactics you mentioned, they were not just very solid at actually like playing breach strats and getting into good holdout spots in houses, and especially in the likes of Pachinki where they were fighting quite a lot. But they also managed to save a lot of their teammates. There was so many times when you had 1 or 2 down members on that squad that they would always manage to get the cover fire, get the res up, and you could never count anybody of TRD out until they were actually down.
Yeah, and I mean, what was actually quite interesting what you're talking about there, and the fact that they would do cover fire. It wasn't always the fact that they would get the person up all the time. They would actually go and kill the players and then res to make sure that they weren't caught with their pants down trying to res someone from the ground and then get shot in the back or in the front, because you're stuck in that sort of animation loop and it's very difficult to be able to get out of when you get pushed. And there was a few other situations that they managed to do. Like, for example, we're talking about Pachinki. Yesterday, we had them dive into Pachinki, and there was also AM, and I think it was...
I think 17 might have showed up at one point, too.
It was 17, maybe? No, it was VW.
No, that was on the last game, where everyone ended up... We had a final circle on Pachinki. By the way, bit of spoilers, but go check out that VOD if you haven't already, because that was an epic final, and I think that might have been why TRD might have had a bit of trouble at the end there, because there were so many teams crowding their space.
Yeah, and how that all started out was TRD, VW, and AM all showed up into Pachinki. They all dropped into it. And instead of TRD dominating and killing AM like they did in the first Erangel game, they actually just, like, you know what, you guys, you have it. They backed out, and then they came back in later on and just wiped team after team. Eventually, they did go down. Spoilers. But they did a fantastic maneuver there of being able to back out and then come back in.
And they were consistent. I think this is the thing. They placed no lower than 5th throughout the entirety of the day. Now, that, of course, TRD, you talked about how all these different teams in the top 5, top 6 representing different countries. They were one of the only representatives from Lebanon. We will have one other team representing Lebanon today. It will be the Emmy Assassins. So I want to see if they can kind of live up to that level. I mean, that's a high bar to set, honestly, but we'll see if they can pull it off. But the other teams that were in high placements, 70, they're the only Jordanian team in the tournament. Won't have one of those teams representing today as far as I'm aware. AM, Arab Madness, they represent Saudi Arabia. We have the UAE represented MBZ Falcons, and of course, KS Kurd Squad are from Iraq. So it's really cool to see like top 5 already, really kind of diverse across the region. And I want to see if any more countries can actually really start back up and move their way into top spots after today's matches representing other countries.
Yeah, I mean, with the Assassins, it'd be interesting to see if they do match up in the same, and also if they've been doing scrims against or with TRD, if they've taken some tips, or if they are just complete rivals and they don't actually want to help each other out at all.
I guess we'll find out as it goes on, right?
Yeah, we'll see. They will eventually face off against each other, hopefully. So that'd be a good storyline if they dominate today. So I have high expectations for them, which I guess is a little bit off. And
Maybe it's a little unfair if it's just, but it's from the same country. Come on. But, hey, if they can step it up, it kind of does prove, like, well, wait a second. Maybe these guys, they just know something a lot of the other players don't.
Yeah. I mean, it's very, well, you never know. They could be the new sort of career of esports in a way where as soon as they start touching an esports game, everyone's like, oh, here we go. They're going to start dominating, and it gets a little bit scary. We'll see. We'll see how that goes in, and today's results are going to be able to reflect that.
Well, Tom, so you're an expert in traditional PUBG as well, and you obviously have been delving pretty hard into PUBG Mobile. For you, like, what has been one of the biggest differences in this game, watching this meta, especially in the MEA region? What has like surprised you the most, I would say, as we get ready to go into this first game here on Vikendi?
I mean, we'll just take that Vikendi, for example. I mean, it's a brand new map. People are still trying to learn how to work it, and this is very similar, and it was a big surprise to see that there were actually still a lot of similar tactics going into this map that I would expect from the sort of PC player sort of group of people as well. And I'm seeing that from TRD, RBK, and a couple other teams like AM as well from yesterday. So it'll be interesting to see if we see that same sort of pattern today. We'll talk more about the PC version later, and the similarities. But let's get straight on into this. So the plane is going to be going obviously down to the south from the northern side, and it's actually a little bit more to the western side, favouring that side, cutting off the likes of Cement Factory, not really making it an optimal drop. But like of Dobro Mesta, we didn't see this come into play at all yesterday. No one was actually able to make it over there. But we are actually going to be seeing a few new towns that are taken up, and eventually we'll see where the circle is going to locate itself.
Yeah, a couple teams heading over to Dino Park. We saw that a little yesterday, even though the teams had to end up running back the opposite way. It was MBZ. But let's take a look at where everyone else is dropping. L&D over on the west side by Dobromesto, and looks like a handful of teams really occupying that spot over by Cosmodrome. That's pretty interesting to me.
Yeah, I mean, Cosmodrome is a very interesting place. It's quite big. It gives me the same feeling as Los Leons, but it's not as packed with loot. So we may be seeing a lot of the teams bumping heads, and especially with the fact that the circle's now landed up sort of towards that position. So we should see a couple of firefights, but it does seem like Team 7 MEA are going to be shifting away. There you go, and in the Dacia, picking up their teammate, and they should be able to shift on over to a couple of other compounds.
All right, so it's already a little bit of a quieter start than we had yesterday, where it was just all guns a-blazing on Vikendi early on with groups A and B. But here in C&D, played a little calmer. You have to think that they would have been watching yesterday, getting a leg up to scout out the competition. That's always a bit of an advantage if you can see your opponent play before you. But there are a couple of squads that are already finding themselves posed off against one another. You've got 46 and SMP.
Yeah, this fight out in this town is going to be quite interesting to see if they have the same sort of similar tactics. We saw a similar fight in start yesterday between the two teams. I think it was AM and maybe even MBZ very early on. So it's going to be interesting to see if we see them sort of just holding up on top of the building with all 4 members in the same room, which was very similar to what happened yesterday.
It's always a dangerous prospect, though. You're primed for an aid.
Yeah, but it does seem like they are going to be spreading out a little bit more. They're not looking to go into those early battle fights. We've got 11 teams here, 44 live at the moment. So it does seem like a couple of teams haven't turned up today. So I'm not quite sure who has actually turned up, but we'll see as we go through this game. We do obviously have this team. I'm not quite sure where they are. I think it's Dobros, if I'm right saying, on the western coast. And now we're back over here. I'm not quite sure exactly where that is, but we do have these two teams who are pushed away from each other this time around. They're not going in for that early battle, which is definitely the smarter play.
Yeah, keeping a little bit of a healthy distance right now. Here is MEA. We talked about them a little bit in the pre-load up, another team representing Lebanon. And they will have a loot spot all to themselves, a little bit further up to the north there.
Yeah, and they had originally dropped into Cosmo, and they were going to contend for that, but they realized very soon, very early on rather, that it wasn't going to be worth the time, and they did actually just back away from it, pick up the car, or jump in the car rather, pick up their teammates, and then drive off to another location, which was definitely a smarter play because they realized the circle had landed on them. They didn't need to play aggressive against a couple of the other teams. They just let Team 4, Abu, take it.
Yeah, and they're over at Trebno now, which is nice because they actually are as far away as possible, but still well within the circle. Look at where that's drawn. It's actually quite far to the northeast.
Yeah, so it's very hard to be able to decide where the circle is going to really sort of end. I would really like to see a mountain finish on this because it can actually it can get really spicy. There's a lot of combat in around that area, and there's also it changes the pace. Yesterday we saw a lot of compound to compound. On the mountain, it's slightly different because you're playing with the verticality where you're having to climb or scale the mountain as well as going from compound to compound. And there's a very limited compound, so you tend to see them hide behind trees and the rocks as they scale the mountain.
No, that's true. It definitely can make for a little bit more interesting strategic play. A couple of teams kind of joining in here in the standoff that had been going on between SMP and 46. We're going to keep our eyes on a handful of others. This is Team 963. And it looks like they found themselves another isolated compound as well. So extended looting phase seems to be the name of the game right now on this first map of Vikendi.
Yeah, and this is over in Cosmo that they were looting, and there's a fair bit of loot there for them, but it's quite spread out. We're now over with Team 13 here, HH.
That's Headhunter. All right.
And
which teams taking a drive?
Which region was Headhunters from?
Oh, they were the team that was representing, if I have it correctly in my notes. I'm going to pull that back up in a second because I'd actually forgotten for just a second. Headhunter are the team that is coming from Bahrain. They're the only team in the MEA region representing that country.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring it up, so that we can actually sort of keep an eye on where they're from, because they're obviously very unique in this tournament where they're representing that country no one else is. So it'd be good to see how they perform and if they're able to really push forward and take a win for their region. I mean, it would be fantastic to see Bahrain sort of get more active in the esports.
Yeah. No, I think you're absolutely right. It's always cool to see a lot of countries that you don't typically see representatives in esports from really stepping up to the plate here. It's one of the really cool things to see the MEA region come alive, especially in PUBG Mobile. Now, we'll take an eye on Nox as well. This is one of our other Israeli representatives, the other one being AXT from yesterday. They will find themselves a nice compound as well and actually split looting around it. A couple in a car, a couple inside the building.
Nox. Now, that sounds like an evil tag and name. It's like... It just sounds like some evil villain gang. I don't know.
It does kind of like, it sounds a bit comic booky. I will grant you. Yeah, like it's like a catchy like.
The Nox is coming.
Yeah, exactly. It's like one of those like groups where like the villains, like 3 or 4 different villains with all strong personalities, like team up and they're like, we're gonna get the good guys.
Exactly like that.
And then they inevitably like fall to their own hubris. Well, hopefully that doesn't happen to Nox today.
Oh. Hopefully they dominate, you know. Sometimes you got to root for the bad guys or good guys, whoever they decide to be.
No, we're just arbitrarily assigning like good guy, bad guy. I mean, to be fair, we are we are going full comic book, I guess, with that as well. I mean, there's also a dude named Thanos in this game.
Oh, well,
yeah.
Snap over his fingers. Hard to
yeah, well, I believe that's the name of the team. It looked like it wasn't much of a strong snap though, because there are still 11 teams left.
You know, three quarters of the teams, it's going to be.
Have you done that? You done that thing yet, by the way, Tom, where you Google Thanos?
No. What is it?
So I don't want to give too much away, and this is not a spoiler for the movie, by the way. So you don't have to cover your ears. But if you Google Thanos, you get a Infinity Gauntlet on the page,
Ooh.
and if you click it, something cool happens. And I won't say anything else, but go do that.
I'm
not right now. Watch the game first, but do it in the break.
I'm going to do that in the break as well, guys. So make sure to go do that, and we'll catch up with the guys over in Cosmo. Not the Cosmopolitan, but just Cosmo.
Yeah, it'd be a little more cosmopolitan if the rest of the team started joining in, and then everyone could have a little mixer, right?
Exactly.
But for the time being, it does seem like most of the teams doing a very good job of actually avoiding each other. And you have to think this is what they're going to want, right? It's all about survival till the end. You don't want to get in those early firefights. Yesterday, we had a lot of that on Vikendi. And this is LPI as well, Light Pirates.
This is actually quite an interesting situation because Trevno is right on the edge. So I didn't really expect people to challenge MEA over here, but they have done that. But they managed to drive on through the town without getting challenged.
Oh, they're just taking a road trip, man. They just want to see the sights, relax a little bit. Vikendi's lovely this time of year.
Oh, look, they are having a look for them, so they must have known they were there. I was kind of hoping they would just beep their horn, you know, the beep beep as they go on by. it's kind of
a little bit of a manner beep.
Yeah, it's kind of tradition to say, "Hey, how you doing?" and as they beep by, and also just to kind of shove it in their face that they're not going to catch them.
Yeah, but MEA didn't really even peek for it. They kind of just stayed inside their building until they passed by.
They did try to run on over, but they're a little bit slow on their feet, so they weren't able to catch them as they were driving on by them.
Yeah, all right, this is UN, another one of our teams here. I believe it's a squad representing the UAE, United Arab Emirates. And a couple of those yesterday as well.
Yeah.
It's just, there's so many different countries represented. It's really cool to see. And obviously it happens across a lot of different regions too. Europe's having right now, we've seen wild card, lots of different countries around the world there as well. But in this particular set of groups, we have quite a few. Now this is either SWAT 69 or 69 SWAT, I'm not sure which. That is going to tilt me all day.
One of the teams. They do have the same name. It's very Are they
They literally use the same tag.
are
Yeah.
they from the same region?
No, that's the funny thing. One of them is Saudi Arabian, and I believe the other is I had to look it up, but I know that I was doing my research, and I'm like, they're not even from the same country. They're not. How are they not communicating? They're not sorting this. What's going on?
It would be great if they were from the same place. That would be amusing. But either way, moving onwards, we're going to be seeing the teams rotate upwards. And there's still going to be quite a few teams that are going to have to get into the next circle, if I'm right in saying. It's probably about 6.
Yeah, a lot of them kind of making a run for it right now. But the teams like MEA that managed to fall fortunately within the circle, they have a really nice holdout spot. So this does seem to favor them going into this mid game. But we've had no action. Nobody has actually bumped shoulders here on Vikendi. And even though only 11 teams ended up loading in, Tom, you have to think that based on yesterday's performance, we would have seen a little bit more of that. But these teams taking it more casual, more controlled.
Yeah, just a little bit laid back, you know. There's still 44 people left alive, and it seems like it's still going to be the case for a while. There are a couple of people who are suffering to the blue, as it were. They haven't found a vehicle, so this is definitely one of the issues. If you don't plan out when you land and pick up a vehicle, so one of the main things, like let's go on back to what I was talking about with I guess with the PC version. One of the main things you would see is that the players always make sure they have a vehicle. When they land, they'll land at a vehicle and then go to a compound. It's not the fact that they'll go to a compound and then when they need to rotate, they'll pick a vehicle up. No, it's always the fact that they would get a vehicle and then they would start looting. So that they make sure they can actually go for those rotations and they're not going to get screwed over. So that they can also do a count of how many vehicles they have, what kind of rotations they can do, how much fuel they have as well. So everything like that comes into play. Luckily for this map, the circles are quite slow, so they are going to be able to get through there.
Yeah, and the blue just not quite hitting as hard early on. It looks like L2K is going to find themselves a pair of snowmobiles as they start to go up road, and HH going to do the same thing. They're splitting off, actually, so this is an interesting strat, trying to go for some split loot.
Yeah. And, I mean, you sort of mentioned MEA obviously being very lucky and being able to be in almost center of the circle there on the edge of the water in that town in Trevano. And it's good and all, but you don't really get that action, which is always really exciting for us. But for them, they may not even want to go for the action because kills are just not worth as much as the placements.
Yeah, we saw that even though there were a handful of teams that through kills and placement combination managed to eke their way up the standings, for the most part, it was the teams that finished with a chicken dinner or several second places or thirds that really made the most, and that's what the point system really incentivizes here. It is getting into those last positions. So if you're any of these teams, you definitely don't want the early action unless you're guaranteed to win that firefight. Unfortunately, that will probably seem to favor the teams not running from the blue right now, as we see a handful. It's kind of split into those half, right? Teams that are cruising away as fast as they can into the zone, and teams that are already nice and set up.
We might actually see a bit of a firefight here if the teams clash next to each other.
All right, this is L2K. Oh, we did see our first knock of the game. It's actually Hunter and Master getting knocked down by LND very quickly, and all of a sudden, things start to get a little interesting, a little spicy.
And look at that rotation from Faker. That was a fantastic positioning from him, and he's going to be trying to shoot at a team who are trying to rotate up above them as well. So that should be fairly easy 2 kills for them. And
Hunter gets put underground. Yeah. Master gets taken down as well. So it looks like UN going to lose just about all of their players, and they will be knocked out. That is going to be the 11th place finish for the UN side.
A little bit disappointing for them going into this, but hey, still got 3 more games, and a couple of wins or a couple of high placements can definitely fix that for them.
Ooh, look at this. As the circle closes in, there is actually a loot crate over into the southeast, but not where the teams want to go. Cosmodrome is going to be where the next circle centers on. A lot of water in that circle as well.
Yeah, and look, there is that famous AWM that we want to be seeing.
And a level 3 helmet. That is a very juicy loot crate, but I don't know if any team is going to want to stick their head in and go for it. It's kind of off on its own right now. Nobody really occupying it. MEA is the closest.
It's going to be pretty difficult for it to be found. Hopefully it does. If it doesn't, then there's going to be plenty more. But this circle landing on Cosmo is going to be pretty interesting because there's different variants of verticality, which we haven't really seen on any other games because you can go underground. There are underground bunkers in Cosmo, and there's also sort of positions you can take that are quite high compared to others. And you can't really shoot into Cosmo from elsewhere that easily. So
right.
It's going to be interesting to see how these teams play around that area. And one thing I do love about this map is that frozen lake, because one of the things most, if not all people, tend to hate within competitive PUBG is actually water, because it's so difficult. Like, even with boats, it's so dangerous to cross. So it puts you at a massive disadvantage if you go across a bridge. Obviously, it's a bit more dangerous, but you can still at least defend yourself. A bit easier if you want to stop at the vehicle, then you can use that as cover. But when you're in the water, if you stop, you get out, you're going to drown or be shot.
Yeah, it's pretty rough, and that's why it is nice to see some other options for a crossing here on Vikendi, where it's always a little bit colder. Now, a couple of other teams are going to be moving up close to one another, 963 and 46. Well, I don't know if the math's going to work out one way or the other for either team here. It looks like there's the breach for 963. They bring up one on the flank. Everybody else is right on the front line right now, and it's Alush who finds the first shots, half-healthing Espiel over there. Bit of a tense fight for just a moment on either side of this compound. Gonna look for the peek, free firing, and he gets the knock. Jasna gets taken down, put 6 feet under by Zico.
He did accidentally switch through his sight a little bit too much there, but this is an aggressive play coming out from the team, and now it's going to be down to Visil, the last player left standing on his team, if I'm right in saying.
Looks like it, he's downed.
Oh, what a wipe.
That was 3 knocks on 46. However, they didn't manage to get a single execution, so that does mean that 963 managed to get that relatively clean, and they will send 46 out, or excuse me, other way around. 46 will send 963 out in 10th place.
Looks like the math was in their favor this time around.
Sometimes lower numbers better in golf and other things, like apparently PUBG Mobile.
Oh, yeah, exactly. It's like, let's see what is going to go on here. So there's going to be a lot of teams here who are just going to be camping around. They're not too worried about having to go in for those aggressive plays because they're still inside the circle. They may not be in the next one, but a couple of them will be. It'll be interesting to see if anyone's still in Cosmo at this point in time. Circle should be closing down in a moment, and we should be seeing the push, which will push a lot of teams potentially into Cosmo. Yep, there we go, as I say. And so we're going to have a lot of combat coming in here because we're going to have, what, I think 5 teams that are going to have to rotate in. We also have Red Bull, LTK, from LTK. They're going to have to cross that river I was talking about. It is luckily frozen.
There they are, actually.
Yeah, there you go. So it is actually frozen, so it's going to be fairly easy for them, I think, but there is actually a bit of a sort of a drop down there.
KA has eyes on them as well. Now, they do get the first shot onto one of the members of KA, so that's a good start for them right now. We'll see if they're going to be able to do a little bit more. Here's another care package that drops down, and this time it's a little bit less attractive. We don't see that AWM. That's always a bit of a pog champ when we do. Still some valuable gear, but oftentimes those are a bit of a bait. You get yourself into those bad situations. Here's SMP hanging out by Trevno, actually, but they all have a vehicle, so they can get into a better position when they need to.
I'm actually pretty surprised. We are seeing a bit of Kar98 action here. They have it prepared, and I really want to see some of the easy peasy lemon squeezy headshots coming out onto these players. He is damaging them, and one thing we'll get into more, and I'll talk with you when we've got the players up on view, but we can actually see what level of damage is done to their vest and how close the vest is to breaking, because once that vest is broken, it's going to be a lot easier for the players with the Kar98s to take down these players with just the body shots as well, and also any other gun, but within that context, specifically the Kar98 or the other snipers.
No, that's fair. If you can shred through the armor and render it effectively useless at that point, you can get a lot more stuff done. It looks like LPI, they're going to be making a run as well back up away from the blue, so it's kind of nipping at their heels, but they do manage to make their way close on into Cosmo. Still, though, you can see LTK kind of stopped up on the opposite side of this frozen lake, and it's tough because they haven't managed to take anybody down.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, it seems like so far in PUBG Mobile that the distance game isn't exactly there on Vikendi. You need to be able to have a couple of people closer to who can rush in and really take the purchase on your shots. And I mean, that's the same on on PUBG PC as well. Taking and sort of knocking down players at a distance, unless you can get the finishing blow, it's not really going to be too effective, apart from destroying their armor, which is better for the future, and making them waste med supplies. And so we do have 2 teams quite close here.
Yeah, it looks like this is HH Headhunters. They're going to be the one that get their way into this house. And this loot spot, Nox, is not too far away from them as well, so we could be seeing a firefight as Nox is not quite into the safe zone just yet. Here is MEA, though, right in the center of Cosmo, and they're going to be seeing L&D approach very slowly. KA still holding the Vanguard out front, trying to stop LTK from getting in.
Yeah, they should be able to do that in a moment. If we could go and switch on over there, as MEA are just going to be laying on the floor.
Look at that split. Yeah, they're so confident in where they are right now. So, you know, we talked them up as being a potential contender just because we already saw the other Lebanese team really start taking it to players yesterday in the form of TRD. But so far, they've been in a good spot for this first game on Vikendi. Here we go. Nox in the sights of Mr. Relax. Nobody's moving for it, though, and this is a 3-1 split for Nox.
He's in quite an interesting position here.
There's the peek. Oh! Relax takes a lot of damage, but he does get the knock on Amorezi.
That was the mini as well, the DMR coming into handy on Vikendi.
There's nades coming, though. Mr. Relax taking a little damage. Glico, he's looking to peek around the side. Dangerous position, though, for Nox. Backs against this safe zone. Julius is starting to chuck out some grenades.
Nades are so important in this, but unfortunately they aren't going to land. But we are going to have a Morsey who's going to be pushing up from Nox.
Oh, look at this next circle here.
And that circle is going to be favoring.
That's actually
one
huge for
team.
LTK right now. They can sort of sneak into it without having to worry about getting their way into Cosmo. But Nox is going to have to do a runner right now, and they're going to start for it here.
Yeah, I think they've realized that they're at too much of a disadvantage to try and do that. And a big spray out coming in. I don't think it really lands on much because I think they were shooting at a vehicle which they managed to get away.
46 caught sight of Snap in the vehicle. And these guys have just been on a road trip the entire game.
Reminds me of MBZ, who used to drive around all the time, especially in the hippie van.
Yeah, I mean, they were going one place to another. It does seem more like SMP are kind of just rolling around in circles themselves. But it's a good comparison to draw.
Ooh.
And if you can place towards the end, that's always a good thing. Looks like we're in for another fight here. MEA have caught KA out. 2 members on the outside. Ahmad trying to hold down the front here. Keep an eye on Abbas as they look for the breach.
Yeah, and the shot's going to be coming in from the opposition. It's LTK who's going to be joining for the fray. Not going to play with the Car 98, making MEA's job a little bit easier here as they're going to try and enter into this building.
LTK's patience certainly paid off. The circle favored them this time, and now we're
another
up for an
building.
all-out battle.
team.
Looks like we've got another MEA going to start off. 46 trying for a breach, but 1 member into the house doesn't quite do what they were expecting him to. So now it's a third party going on here.
It's going to get a little bit ridiculous. So many shots going to be raining in. And that KA are going to be going down one after another. MEA trying to get those kills. We did call them out as a team that have to do well. And it might just happen. The peak comes in. He gets the knock.
Falsten's doing a great job right now. Only 2 kills so far, and he manages to get another knockdown there. It finishes the job. That car gets exploded just on the outside, but KA, they're still holding strong. It's in the upper level here. Haji's going to have to get rezzed up by MBJ. MEA does get killed. He does get 1 member killed down, so they're down to 3.
I am definitely impressed with them so far. That push was fantastic. That use of Molotov was great. It might actually knock him down
I
here.
think it's going to. He's not going to be able to get the first aid in time. No, he just barely avoids the damage. That was so close.
Skin of his
But
teeth.
this might be where the breach happens. No, MEA are not going to go for it. Only 2 members inside the house. They're leaving 1 outside.
I don't think there's a sound indicator for someone burning, so it would be quite difficult to be able to push on that too much unless you knew the damage was done. So fair play to them. But moving back over towards Cosmo, we see Headhunters approaching LND.
LND staggered throughout this compound. Headhunters looking for the breach themselves, all playing on the edge of the circle as it continues to shrink down. I can't believe it. We've got 8 teams still alive, and it's 21.5 minutes going. A lot of these teams have done a great job at avoiding certain death, but meanwhile, the standoff continues over here between MEA and KA.
It's all going to be about sort of the waiting time here. They are going to be able to pick up their teammate, which is fantastic for KA. But going forward, they're going to be at a disadvantage with their position. They're going to be stuck in a building and at the higher level, which makes it a little bit harder for them. But look at this circle. It's on the river.
LTK are
in the
getting
center.
such a great set of circles right now. They've still not crossed. And now they're in such a good spot to actually just kind of hold out because they're watching the battle happening from afar. And they
so
just get to
cheeky.
witness it with some popcorn.
Yeah, it's so cheeky. It's that moment when you see like a couple of people sort of arguing on, say, Twitter, and you're just like the popcorn emote or
Yeah.
the GIF. You're just like, meow, meow, watching
Yeah,
that.
got no horse in this race.
And occasionally, like, dropping a like on one of their tweets. And by a like, they're actually just taking pot shots with their Car 98s, knocking a couple of people down to try and make the
How much
the
damage
fight
does a
spicier.
like do?
100 damage if they hit the headshot. So,
Okay. Yeah, headshot likes.
Yeah, it could do 70
Twitter's a
to
dangerous
80 as
place,
well.
man, more than I realized. All right, looks like Nox is going in for this fight right now, though, so MEA might be caught out just for a second. It's 2 members of Nox. Alvis is trying to hold the front door. Let's see if he can make it happen as he does get the knockdown onto one of the Nox members. MEA still holding 3 members strong. And now everybody else is coming up through the cars. You can see SMP has been watching from the opposite side of this bridge over here. Falstein is going to get the finishing blow onto that Nox member.
And there is going to be another team joining in the fray here. So Nox are going to be a little bit screwed here. They did try to go for a split, which actually worked out in their favor because it meant that if one side of their team does go down, it was great. But unfortunately, HH are now here and right next to Nox, who are only got 2 players, and one's going to go down.
Yeah, they're in a little bit of trouble here because with one downed player over in the other fight, they really can't call in any more reinforcements for the time being, and the rest of the team's starting to come on up, smelling blood, smelling the opportunity to pick up some early stats for themselves. HH, they've got Nox on the run, have everybody down, and it looks like MEA still in the thick of it. They get Needle knocked down. That's Wasi that managed to pull that one off. He's going to need to use the first aid kit. Doesn't really have a whole lot of time to do it because the rest of L&D is coming in hot, and he actually misses a lot of shots, gets knocked down himself. Folliston is going to need to be the one to be the hero here. Looks like Drugs gets knocked down by him. The Bape as well. Nox still actually staying alive in this one, still having a chance here, however slim. Folliston through this window. He's going to finally get knocked down, finished off. But, man, he really stacked some frags up.
Now, that was some crazy tactics coming in, making the full use of that window, being able to get the view on the players as they rush down. He did go in for the bait as one of the players shot at him. He peeked away and then repeats on him, which worked fantastic.
And Thanos is knocked down over by the bridge. Looks like SMP pretty much lose everybody. They will end up going out in... no, they're still up. They still have a handful of players, but it looks like we saw MEA dropping out in the 8th place position, which is a shame because it looked so good for them for so long, but they just weren't able to hold up when multiple teams attacked on multiple fronts.
To be fair, considering how much pressure they were under, I'm pretty happy with that. I mean, it's obviously really disappointing that they weren't able to sort of really take purchase in that bottom house and wipe out the other team that was pushed them on, which was LND, if I'm right in saying, and also KA as well. But, you know, I'll still give them props to that.
Yeah, no, not too bad, all things considering. Looks like LPI kind of caught a little bit on the low ground here. They're going to have to deal with LTK, who find a few tables turned for themselves, and they still getting the favor in this next circle. They're going to be perfectly fine standing in here. It looks like Faker, meanwhile, is going to go ahead and chuck a Molotov into that top window. For the breach. He actually unfortunately misses. It was down at the bottom, it looked like.
And he accidentally set himself on fire, so he's now burning alive instead of his opposition.
That's not the type of fire you really want to be on for sure. All right, circle's going to start to shrink down again. LPI trying to hide in the smoke underneath the rocks on this frozen lake.
It's not going to be too much they can do that, but the push is going to be coming out from these teams. LND
LND
for the wipe. Hell,
holy moly, they just mow down the KA members and take full control of this house right now. Everyone's going to have to move pretty quickly, but LND, how about that play?
Got to give it to them, but LTK are just here at a distance, taking a couple of shots, and not even with the Kar 98 all the time. He's using the G36C, and then we've got 99, N9, and 9, and taking the shots as well. And look at this.
Ben's still alive from Nox. Looks like he also has Galiko as his teammate, so these two members have been hanging on for a little while now. 16 teams, 16 players, 15 make that. As Ben loses his life, and it's down to one member of Nox. Galiko, how strong can he be, actually? That's the question, though. No, it's actually not gone down. He just got knocked. 14 players alive, though, and only 5 teams at this point. Needle's going to take himself a couple of painkillers, but he's got to make moves quickly because the blue is encroaching upon him very fast. And he's just going to have to run out into the open. Into the smoke he goes. Got to be careful, though. HH, the Headhunters, they are going to hunt some heads this time around. Finding a kill.
Somehow making it work for them, and LTK scoping in from above, and Nox are going to go down. Headhunter's going to be remaining above at the moment, but they're going to now come under fire from LTK from the mountainside with the ARs and the snipers, and 2 players now going to be knocked, and it's going to be very difficult for them to be able to recover from this. But they're going to take a car, drive right off the edge. The best kind of idea to do here, because you can't survive that fall, and apparently you can't survive LTK.
LTK are laughing all the way to the bank right now. Mr. Relax is going to find himself knocked down, and then Julius gets put 6 feet under as well. So at this point, LTK looking like the team to beat in this game on Vikendi. The circle favored them pretty heavily, but they made excellent use of it now, and we are down to the final 2 teams. It will be LPI and LTK.
And I'm fairly certain they do know where where this team is below the rocks, because they were fighting them earlier on. They as they tried crossing over below here, and now these guys are just hiding. There's not really too much.
I mean, they haven't moved at all, but
yeah.
At this point, I guess the question is like, who comes to who? Because you can see a big bunch of blue in front of you if you're either team. And the high ground advantage for LTK. Oh, they're going to get the drop down. Here's Red Bull. He falls down there, and he does get knocked without managing to return it onto anybody.
He does. No, he knocked
Tama.
And he also almost killed another one as well. This is incredible. And now there's going to be 2 members left standing at the moment. The fire did go out, but they're still standing right now.
Another drop down. 9-9. He's got Issa. He's got Hama knocked down, but here comes around the side. It's Corp. And let's see if he can get the firefight. He does manage to take him down, but he's taking heavy fire from his own side. And it looks like this is going to go in favor of LTK. They had the high ground, but they came down bot and ended it.
What a fantastic play coming out from both these teams at the end. I'm very surprised LP managed to survive that long against LTK. And LTK, and really impressive shots coming across the way. It was consistent damage all the time, so it'd be interesting to see the damage when we eventually get access to the stats. It'd be really nice. But they also get a bunch of kills, so they get the 30 points. Plus, they also get the 10 points on top of that, if I'm right in saying. Which is pretty impressive on that front. So 40 points altogether. Have to give them props on that. second place is still fantastic as well.
No, LPL did a good job with the hide and wait strategy, and unfortunately not quite able to finish off LTK when it counted, but still great placement for them. They still pick up 22 points plus any frags.
Yeah.
But also, I want to call it a couple of the other teams that placed very highly. Headhunter did a really good job, and they were a very active, breaching, focused style team. Whereas you saw Nox, they had 2 members lost in the beginning of that endgame fight, and still managed to pull out what looked like a 4th place finish. They actually pulled out ahead of L&D.
Yeah, they had those 2 vehicles. They decided to go in for a split push, try and take a little bit more real estate, or maybe they were gambling that they didn't want to have to just put all the eggs in one basket. But let's take a look at the highlights here.
This was 46 starting out onto the 963 fight, and that was one of our earliest engagements after a lot of downtime. This is Headhunters taking on Nox early on, and there were a couple of knocks but no kills. Now, this is where Falastine becomes the hero for MEA before, unfortunately, the rest of the team gets overwhelmed. He started out by taking out one of those members of 46 on the breach and continuing to do it, pretty much playing some solo hero plays.
Yeah, it was too easy for him. I mean, that's easy for Ants, but it's easy for Falastine here. And this is quite an interesting play here. Was he going to be able to knock down one player? He's going to get tagged down quite low. He takes a re-peek, and he's able to knock down Mr. Drugs there as he tries pushing in. And then, unfortunately, L&D did wipe them out and took it from there.
Yeah, here's where it was LTK just completely having the pick of the litter on the high ground over the way. L&D still trying to mind a couple of fights themselves. And Faker, what a great shot on that one as he goes for the breach. But unfortunately, he stepped into Nox's sights right away. And we saw that from the Nox perspective last time around. Here's that final fight, though, where 9-9 drops down, gets the knock, gets the kill, and he really just makes it so much more worth his while. Corp comes around, tries to surprise him, but guess who's surprising who on the opposite side, and LTK take the win.
Yeah, and it's actually really surprising to see right at the end there, we saw the Tommy gun. And this is not something that we've discussed too much, to be exact, is the Tommy gun is not something that's used at all.
No, but if you do want to spray at short range, it's not bad.
If you get an extended mag on it, it can hold up to, if I'm right in saying, 50 bullets.
Oh, man.
So if you want to spray, that's insane.
You can just hold it down, man. So that's fantastic stuff.
Oh, definitely.
Now I'm looking forward to it. Now, of course, as a reminder, if you guys want all the information, including VODs and standings, you can go ahead and head to clubopen.pubgmobile.com for all that stuff. We do update it very frequently. In fact, should pretty much be going live match after match after match, so you can keep up on all the up-to-date information. And, of course, you can also smash that subscribe button down below in the YouTube channel to make sure you do not miss a moment of the PUBG Mobile Club Open. And, of course, that channel, if you are not on that one, if you're on maybe Twitch or one of the other ones watching, you can go ahead and go to youtube.com/PUBGMobile.
Which you got everything there, but make sure to ding-dong that
PUBG Mobile Esports,
notification.
excuse me. Yes. Hit the notification button because you will want to get notified when it goes live. We have lots of games, lots of regions being played. I mean, this is a truly global PUBG Mobile competition.
For $2.5 million, I'd hope it is. It's incredible.
the way.
I mean, we've got the Americas going on. We've got the European.
In conjunction with us,
on.
Europe is going on at the same time as well. We had India earlier today,
Yeah.
the wildcard region, which is pretty much the rest of the world. I mean, it's just insane how many teams, how many countries are represented, how many players are involved at that level.
Definitely. And you know
It's
what?
just the spring split.
My call out is I did call out MEA for a team that they needed to perform. I have a feeling they're going to be a team to watch going forward.
Ooh, well, we are going to be going on to Miramar next, but first we're going to be taking a quick break, so don't go anywhere. We will return with the PUBG Mobile Club Open right after this.
Hi.
Hey, buddy.
Yo, Mike, are you ready?
Wait. Should I go with the UMP9 or UC?
Sun's out, guns out.
Gear up for summer.
Ready?
Okay. Well,
Ready?
Sorry. I'm late.
Any plans for fall break?
happy graduation! You made it, bro. So proud of you.
Sorry I'm late. What a day.
I hear ya.
Get
Come
this.
on!
Hey,
Watch out! Take this!
that's
Hey!
a real battleground.
Are you ready?
Royale Pass Season 6 is here. This season's theme is 1-year anniversary of PUBG Mobile, with lots of rare items. We've also added lots of more realistic and hardcore items to your Royale Pass rewards. Turn yourself into an elite soldier. UC spent in Royale Pass will be fully refunded as your Royale Pass ranks up, so you can buy next season's pass. Royale Pass.
Ha! Gotcha. Royale Pass. You deserve it.
Zombie, Darkest Night. The newest mode in the zombie universe is here. This time, the rules are different. No more parachuting, as players will be placed at random locations on the map when the match begins, and there is no single winner. Players must work with their teammates to spend one long night in the match and stay alive until the sun comes up. Waves and waves of zombies will spawn during each of the 3 foggy periods at night, and supplies should only be scavenged when the fog fades. The main objective is not to defeat other players, though this doesn't mean they are harmless. Players may need to work with other teams when necessary, but should also watch their backs in case the Fragile Alliance goes south. This will be a unique experience for every player involved. This new mode also comes with a passive skill for every player. Understanding the skill will be the key to staying alive in this long night. Can you ride out the night?
Hi.
Hey, buddy.
Yo, Mike, are you ready?
Wait. Should I go with the UMP9 or use it?
Sun's out, guns out.
Gear up for summer.
Ready?
Okay. Well,
Ready?
Sorry. I'm late.
Any plans for fall break?
happy graduation! You made it, bro. So proud of you.
Sorry I'm late. What a day.
I hear ya.
Get this. Hey,
Watch out! Take this!
that's
Hey!
the real battleground.
Are you ready?
Royale Pass Season 6 is here. This season's theme is 1-year anniversary of PUBG Mobile, with lots of rare items. We've also added lots of more realistic and hardcore items to your Royale Pass rewards. Turn yourself into an elite soldier. UC spent in Royale Pass will be fully refunded as your Royale Pass ranks up, so you can buy next season's pass. Royale Pass.
Ha! Gotcha. Royale Pass. You deserve it.
Zombie Darkest Night, the newest mode in the zombie universe, is here. This time, the rules are different. No more parachuting, as players will be placed at random locations on the map when the match begins, and there is no single winner. Players must work with their teammates to spend one long night in the match and stay alive until the sun comes up. Waves and waves of zombies will spawn during each of the 3 foggy periods at night, and supplies should only be scavenged when the fog fades. The main objective is not to defeat other players, though this doesn't mean they are harmless. Players may need to work with other teams when necessary, but should also watch their backs in case the Fragile Alliance goes south. This will be a unique experience for every player involved. This new mode also comes with a passive skill for every player. Understanding the skill will be the key to staying alive in this long night. Can you ride out the night?
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, once again to the PUBG Mobile Club Open. I'm still Pyrotechnics. He is still Wee Freeman, or if you prefer, Thomas Pickering. I didn't know that Tom was short for Thomas in this case, but apparently that was obvious.
Yeah, no, definitely not going to be using Thomas. Tom is the one.
No, let's just go with Tom. Tom. It gets a little too formal, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You're gonna need like some suspenders if I Thomas you.
It's like in the sort of scale of like formality. If you got me, Thomas is up here.
Yeah.
Tom is here, and then Tommy is down there, and that's just weird. So.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't go Tommy. That's like I feel like nobody above the age of like 14 says that, you know. Yeah, but Tom works.
It reminds me of like a little kid, like Tommy. But,
yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Or my mum shouting at me. So.
Yeah, that's always gonna throw you back a little bit. I suppose. See, I didn't. Devin, you don't really get a whole lot of nicknames. Like I got Devo, you know, like the band.
Dev.
Yeah, D. You know, you can't really make any cool nicknames out of it. It's too few letters.
Well,
but enough about us. Let's not talk about us. Let's talk about the games because that was such a great one on Vikendi. We had so many teams going into that final circle, or really close enough to the final circle, and then it all just kind of collapsed in on itself. And finally, LTK had that great favor and took the fight. A brilliant play from them.
Yeah, got to give them props for being able to really make use of their RNG luck of being able to be on top of the hill.
That's
on the,
one half of it, right?
On the tiniest side of the circle, and then the circle decided to hard shift multiple times, so it shifted right over to their side of the river, which is just ridiculous. You do not tend to see that very often because it's such a small chance for it to land on that side of the circle each time.
We expected it to be a big Cosmo one, but we got majorly debated.
But you know what? I think that was much better because we saw a lot of those teams pushing into MEA, who performed very, very well, and also Nox, who did the split, lost 2 of their players, but ended up performing a lot better due to that.
Yeah, no, seriously, they performed pretty admirably considering the fact that they got knocked down a couple really early. I think L&D also did a good job, ended up placing out in the 5th place. HH, Headhunter, they did a good job as well, and they were a very active team. They were really going in very true to their name, so that was kind of nice and really good stuff. Of course, if you weren't able to catch everything and you want to get a nice little refresher, you can go ahead and head over to clubopen.pubgmobile.com for all the information on the tournament, including up-to-the-minute standings and VODs to check out previous days. So not just the ME region, you can catch all of the Club Open here for the PUBG Mobile Spring Split. So looking forward to seeing all of that stuff as it unfolds, and you always can catch up to it. Also, in addition, if you'd like, you can go ahead and head over to the YouTube channel. It is youtube.com/PUBG Mobile Esports. Hit that subscribe button so you do not miss a single minute of the PUBG Mobile action.
Very easy. And obviously that website you can go to, you can track all the teams, because there's 32 teams we're tracking here, 4 different groups of teams.
And that's just in our region.
And that's just in our region. So if you want to keep track of all the teams, which is a huge amount of teams, you definitely need to use this website. There's some really cool sort of features to it. So go make sure to check out the YouTube channel as well. You can obviously see us live. So you should really be able to go and find this very easily.
Assuming you're not already watching on YouTube. Otherwise, how are you? What sort of future technology are you using to watch us? What's going on there? But yeah, no, it's good stuff. I think it's awesome. We have so many different so many different teams competing at very high levels of PUBG Mobile early on here, and it is for a big prize, 2.5 million across all of the regions, across for that big finals. That of course will be coming up way later on in the year. We've got so much more PUBG to get to, and even just today, that was just map 1. We had Vikendi. We will be moving on to Miramar in just a little bit, and things definitely change. We go from little bitty island to a much wider landmass.
Yeah, obviously with Vikendi talking about map size, it's quite small, but I mean it's still 6x6.
Yeah, so it's not Sanhok size, but
yeah,
it's still
Sanhok is a little baby, you know, on that side.
Man, you don't run out of voices, do you?
No, you got all the voices. That's why I'm free men.
Oh, I see. So it's just different ones popping up to say something, right?
Multiple personalities.
Am I ever talking to the same person?
No.
Oh.
Ever seen that film Split?
No.
I'm Patricia.
Oh, I don't understand that reference.
You should watch it. It's quite good.
It's on Netflix because I will.
Yeah, it will.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. But anyway, getting back on subject. So talking about Vikendi, it's quite small compared to Miramar in the way that the landmass is spread out. You have a lot more cover on Vikendi, hard cover to be exact. When I'm talking about hard cover, I'm talking about the trees, the rocks, the buildings. With Miramar, there's a lot less of that. There's more of the fact that you're hiding behind sort of the hills and the little divots, rather than being able to just play hard behind a wall and peek and stuff. It's a little bit more difficult, and because of that, it means there's a lot more open areas, and you need to be able to use a different tactic rather than just being able to run. Although we did actually see a lot of cars in Vikendi this time around. It wasn't as many in the first day yesterday. So this time round, we will be seeing a lot more cars in Miramar, depending on where the circle drops and where all the teams drop. Because if they drop all too close together and the circle lands there, then I doubt we'll see any cars.
That was definitely a big change-up compared to yesterday. We saw a lot more players really starting to play a little bit more passively, using vehicles, as you mentioned, to get around. But taking a look at our standings, of course, this is also really only going to be reflective of yesterday's matches for the most part, because this is, of course, a cumulative standings. So you see LTK, who won that last round, have 1 match played, whereas the other teams in the top 8 all possessing a lot more points because they've had so many more matches. TRD are definitely the team to beat with 114 points in the lead, but you can see that LTK, with 10 frags as well as their 30 placement points for the first, if they can do that a couple of times, they can certainly catch up to the real deal and get themselves into that top position.
And what's actually really interesting on that is if you look in 4th place, MBZ Falcons, they've got 11 kills. Life to kill, they've already got 10 kills after 1 game. So it kind of says a lot. I mean, placement is everything, and even with the win, they were still able to jump up there. So now we see the rest of the teams from today here, plus one of the ones from yesterday, and you can obviously see where these guys are heading at the moment.
Yeah, you take a look, of course, with the top 16 all across the board. The ones that keep an eye on are the ones that only have that 1 match played, because they're the ones that are getting a lot closer to really already upsetting some of these teams that have placed very low in the standings in groups A and B. There'll be lots of time, lots more matches for the teams to face off against each other. Every group does play every other group once, so they'll get a chance to kind of test their mettle against each other. But for the time being, looking at Light Pirates, LPI, there's a team that placed in 2nd last time, Headhunter, of course, and also L&D, who did a really good job. They fragged out pretty heavily, so they actually end up earning a higher spot than Light Pirates or Headhunter based on the fact that they just got so many more kills.
Well, it's actually, and on that list as well, RBK were down in 14th position with, I think it was 36 points, if I remember correctly. That's only a win and a couple of kills for one of these teams to be able to overtake them. So RBK's plays yesterday really did not secure them a position on the leaderboard for very long. Then we obviously go into the next set of teams here as well, the next 8. We can obviously see Nox already in 17th position, which is fairly good. They should be able to try and sort of climb up there if they carry on the way they were.
Yeah, here's the rest. And unfortunately, it looks like all these teams, they're all the ones that didn't end up loading in. So that's between yesterday and today because they have 0 matches considered played.
Well, you know what? SWAT 69. They didn't make it in, so we're not going to have all SWAT, actually.
Well, it might have been 69 SWATs. So, like, yeah, it could have been. We only saw actually 1 tag for the day. So it's entirely possible that they didn't end up going in. We were missing a few teams.
Yeah, well, 69 SWAT and SWAT 69 both didn't get in. So
oh, they both didn't. Yeah, no, I can see. Never mind.
I'm actually quite upset like KWT didn't get in because they're the only team from Korea, if I'm right in saying.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a shame to see a team, kind of carrying the banner for their country really not actually stepping up to the plate. So maybe they will. I mean, we did see a lot more teams come in towards the end of the day. Sometimes scheduling issues can arise in the Club Open, but we'll see if it happens this time around.
Hopefully they do come in because I've known a couple of people from there. It'd be nice to see them go forward. But nonetheless, we're going to be coming and jumping into Miramar here. The plane is going to be going right down to the coast of Miramar here, mainly sort of focused and sort of favored on the eastern side of the map, but it still allows a lot of these teams to be able to land. It's a little bit more difficult for El Pozo, and due to the sort of freshness of the PUBG Mobile scene, a lot of these teams may not have the sort of knowledge or ability to be able to pick up a car and go in for a rotation. They may well just land where they land and then go from there. Whereas on PUBG PC, you would see a lot of teams going for the more sort of specific rotations to their specific spots. But we are in open right now, so we won't be seeing that too much. But these teams are spreading out quite nicely, so not many teams sort of jumping on each other. We do have 6-9 actually here, so they are in Campo Militar at the top there. And then down to the south, we are going to be seeing the KA, I think the last team here. So I'm not quite sure where they're going to go. Maybe Chumacera?
A handful of other teams. Looks like S&P are going to be going a little further to the south. But as you mentioned, it really is a nice split as the plane went pretty much due south just over Los Leones. And, well, I'm curious to see where the circle places. Yesterday's Miramar match we had in Group A and B ended up going over towards the west. And once again, we will have another El Pozo-centered one. So this favors the handful of teams that have already gotten inside.
Yeah, and I mean, El Pozo is definitely one of the more favored places for people to play. It's got a lot of loot, a lot of land, and a couple of teams can stick in there without having to duke it out between them. And there's not really many teams that are there yet. There's a couple of teams that are trying to fight their way on over. But we'll see where they do end up going. This is Picardo, so we didn't actually see a single team drop into Picardo yesterday. And
got 2.
Yeah, and I did mention it was like it is the hot area for the teams to be able to land in each one of the games. But this time round, this time around, we're actually going to be seeing 2 teams. Yesterday, we saw none, maybe out of fear, the fact that they would go out too soon. But now we might be seeing a little bit of an earlier fight from them. Campo Militar, I don't think they're going to be sort of in any fights up here. They should be able to loot up very nice, and this is going to be Al Azahar. It's a fairly decent place to loot. You can see one of those sort of god buildings right next to the master. It's the more sort of building and construction still. It has fairly high value loot.
All right, so we are underway here. It started at 12 teams loading in for the fight here on Miramar, as you mentioned. A place with a lot less hard cover, having to use more environmental stuff, having to use more hills and ridges to really get yourself safe. But there are a number of buildings to loot on, and early on in this game, with how big the map is, we should see a lot more of what we saw in Vikendi, where teams playing a lot more safely. It looks like one of the 69 teams did actually make it in this time around, so that's good to know.
Yeah, both of them have actually made it in.
Oh, nice.
One's in Campo Militar, and then one's down where they were right next to church. I do wonder, when as a team, 69 SWAT or SWAT 69, when they push into a building, do they like scream, "Squad, open up"? You know, just
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, it depends which one does it. Is it SWAT 69 or is it 69 SWAT?
69 SWAT, open up.
Yeah, what's easier to say, I guess. It is kind of funny the two teams so similarly named, and there is LTK.
Different regions, which is just crazy. But
yeah.
LDK, interesting. Are we going to be seeing them perform in this game? Was it a fluke that they just had the circle and the hill advantage? I don't know. They had some fairly good shots, and they were consistently using the snipers very well, and the snipers are favored on this map due to the distance and the DMRs as well, especially, although I don't know if I saw any of them. Maybe there was one of the players that had a mini, so we will see how that turns out. This is obviously that sort of Team 69 who are still looting. They're very close together, so I don't usually agree with this style of looting where you're so close together. You should really try and get a hold of where the enemies are around you, where they've landed, and then loot according to that.
There's the other 69 squad over there. And they're a bit more split loot. Large compound to really take advantage of for the time being. And, you know, everybody is just off on their own doing their own thing. And nobody's really faced off against one another. We do take a look at Nox, and they're not too far away from UN, but that's just about it.
They're in El Azhar.
Ah.
Yeah, it's a fairly interesting place to loot. There is a prison building there. That is a pretty unique structure for people. It has been known to hold quite a lot of loot as well. So it's fairly decent to be able to land in that. There's enough loot in that whole place to really fill a couple of squads' loot bags, as it were. And now we're back to Picardo here. So there's a little bit of verticality in this. You can see from different angles there. You can see one of the players jumping out of the top of that building. Doesn't take any full damage, though. Well, actually, very little anyway. And then we have a couple of teams that are going to be approaching them. Team 13 there, Headhunters.
There's LND moving their way forward. So a lot of teams already starting to make their way into the circle. But as you can see on the map, a number really perfectly happy staying outside for the time being. And it looks like S&P. Is one of them taking a boat?
I think they... No, okay, they're not. So S&P, they are actually just going to be sticking around there on Pyro. You know what? A boat would actually be an interesting way because they could rotate around. And
there's really nobody on the coast right now.
There is... so where they would want to go, there is actually two teams. There's in the Valley of Death. And also on Prison Island, there is actually... one of the teams which will be sort of crossing over as well, so it does pose a little bit of danger.
Yeah, nothing is ever 100% danger-free for sure, especially not in a battle royale where there can be only one at the end. But all the same, might be an interesting way to fast travel through. Taking a look here, back on El Azhar, we're seeing the UN perspective. Now this is a team that unfortunately went out quite early on Vikendi. Maybe they can have better fortunes this time around.
Come to some kind of agreement with Nox as to not come into any fights. UN potentially being the good guys, there, and then Nox being the evil group.
I like we're putting Nox into the bad guy territory. I don't know why we're doing that the whole time. We've seen them try to survive against incredible odds. Isn't that what heroes do?
Well, you never know. I mean, a villain is only a villain from certain people's.
No, that's a good point. So, yeah, we're just going to get into a very big philosophical debate about good and evil, aren't we?
Well, I mean, it is PUBG Mobile, so it kind of fits, right?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Philosophy, PUBG. They both start with P.
Exactly. That's all you need. Oh,
hello. Grenade primed for Headhunters. LND looking for the peak, tries to pre-fire. Needle doesn't quite find himself in a haystack, but he does look for it.
Well,
I appreciate the chuckle.
Well, I won't correct you on that one saying that. It was actually Headhunters looking for the needle.
Well, yeah, they were looking for him too, but they were using a grenade to find it, and I don't know if that's a really effective method, to be honest. Just going to blow up the hay.
I mean, if you're like, well, if I can't have it, no one else can have it. Grenade might work in that favor.
I guess. Ooh, there's Mr. Relax. Firing down from a distance, though. Not the most accurate on the spray. There's one knock, and that's on one of the Headhunters members.
Yeah, and that was with an M24, and it looks like Mr. Relax has one of his own in his pocket, although he pulls out his Scar instead to try and return some fire, I think. But they are going to be able to recover one of their teammates that was taken down, but that was actually a headshot that knocked him down, so he's going to have to pick up another helmet. It's a bit unfortunate the shots come out, but Mr. Relax, it doesn't land it.
Playing a bit of a dangerous game. L&D roving as a pack, getting a little bit closer, creeping up on the Headhunters numbers.
They're just like, nope, this is not.
Yeah, they're moving to the outside actually. Yeah.
So
It's only as a 3-man.
Yeah, it seems like they have actually lost a player. I don't think he landed. He actually loaded in, so they have actually only been a 3-man.
It's a bit unfortunate. I guess that's one of the reasons to play a little bit safe if you can. Nox are going to get one member down. It's Maurice. That's off screen though. Meanwhile, we're keeping our eyes on KA and one of the 69 squads.
Yeah, this is over in Chimisura. Quite an interesting place to fight. There's a lot of sort of elevation on one side of the town, and it tends to sort of slope down in towards the center of the map.
Smoke being chucked down here by Nox. Want to be careful as they try to get one of their members back up, or he should get res pretty easily here. Blue is coming in. Doesn't do quite so much damage just yet, but they will want to get moving as it'll start getting a little bit more damaging over time. And Maurice is the one the lowest right now, so they do need to pop into that vehicle. And Nox is going to call everybody, hey, everyone get in. Make sure you use the bathroom. We're getting the heck out of here.
So that's pretty dangerous. You need to be using...
Maurice is knocked again.
Yeah, that was actually a really, really bad play from them. They should definitely have done a bandage at minimum, or if not 2 at that point, and then you'd be fine. A bandage is fairly easy to use. I'm not quite sure, but I'm fairly certain you can use it in the car in this as well. They are actually going back for him, but thanks to him going down once, he's now going to bleed out even faster. And the circle is going to be coming in, and it's going to be centering almost next to that care package, actually.
Yeah,
just
Monte
right next
Nuevo.
to, Monty there.
Wow.
And that care package or loot package, whatever you decide to call it, could hold some interesting things. So maybe we'll get to have a look at that. But we've still got majority of teams having to rotate in here. But nonetheless, LP have just got inside the previous circle here.
Yeah, you know, one thing we didn't really talk about as much is the fact that Emmy Assassins, they're finding themselves once again kind of in a very isolated position. This is the same sort of thing they did on Vikendi, where they found a very remote spot, but also one where the circle favored them. Taking a look at where they are right now, good split loot here, and I believe this is just a little bit to the north of El Pozo.
Yeah, they're very, very lucky on where they go here. They are going to have to shift over, and it's going to be pretty difficult for them to be able to do anything in La Cabrera.
La Cabrera?
There you go.
Cabrera. My pronunciation is still pretty terrible, to be honest.
Well, I'm still going to lean on your
you might as well.
Californian.
Californian-y? Okay.
Knowledge. Oh,
MK14 in that package.
That is a really good weapon, to be fair, especially in the current meta, as it were, because the DMRs do so much damage, and the fact that you can sort of shoot quite far, and you can put the 8 times on it if that is what you favor, because unfortunately on the what you could do back in the day is you could put an 8 times on M16 or an M4, but now it is actually just locked to the DMRs and up on those scopes, but you can obviously have the low scopes on it. So jumping into this, we are going to be seeing a couple of teams hiding out here. UN have moved over from El Azahar over to just above Hacienda.
There's LPI. This is our second place squad the last time around. Actually going to trade vehicles out. Get into the back of the pickup truck. A little bit easier time to shoot through, but it is just a bit of a road trip down the way. We saw S&P doing the same thing, but they were cruising through the blue. Gotta think they'll be stepping pedal to the metal here. The L&D squad with only 3 members managed to keep their holdout spot pretty safe.
It's fairly decent from them, and this rotation should be fairly safe. Wait, what? Excuse me, Mr. LTK.
Red Bull.
His car was just flipping for him. I'm not quite sure how he managed to do that, but it seems like he is a Mr. Red Bull, the athlete, the stunt driver.
Apparently
for
not.
Red Bull. Yeah, quite bad, honestly.
I don't know if he does all his own stunts for sure. Looks like LTK are going to lose one. Ben from Nox managing to find that down.
That was actually really nice shots, and I think it was the SLR, if I remember correctly, which does hit like a truck. So being able to land those shots was great, and being able to get the kill will only further their advantage going into this game, not only in points, but also taking out the team that won the previous game and really put them at a disadvantage. And the question was for LTK that we had was, can they actually win this current this new game on Miramar? Or was the luck in their favor last game?
Looks like Nox have found a really good high ground position up against LTK right now. A little bit of chance to get back at him for the last round. This is one of the squads that sort of sandwiched them. Galiko does take a few pot shots, though, and this is what you're talking about. Soft cover, really all that's available, having to utilize the terrain itself as cover.
Yeah, exactly what I was talking about. It's not quite that hard cover because it's not something that is... it's not really like as a wall, but you can obviously see... N9 and 9 is going to be hiding behind that hard cover, the rock, but he's got nowhere to run. There's not really much you can do, rather than Nox who are using these crevices inside this mountain or hill to be able to take shots around it.
Meanwhile, though, this back and forth continues between L&D and Headhunters, and there is one knock that happens. But both teams are going to have to move pretty quickly because the next circle already moving in hot. That care package is still available inside of it, as it will also encompass Power Grid and just the western edge of San Martin.
Yeah, and 2 care packages there, or loot crates for people to be able to loot up. So quite a decent amount of level 3 gear, which is definitely preferable for a couple of these teams to be able to pick up. And it's actually going to be the M249, and you did kind of talk smack about it last game. I do want to mention it's an upgraded version of the DP28 in some ways. The DP28 is its own independent gun and needs no M249, but it is still a great weapon by itself. M249 does use the lighter ammo, the 5.56 millimeter shots, which are a little bit more common in some ways, and it does hit like a truck, and obviously has 100 rounds in it, so if you want to spray, it's the perfect gun.
Yeah, good gun for it for sure. Well, Nox still stuck in this battle with LTK, but they do have a high ground advantage continually, even though they have been taking a little bit of pot shots here. You can see Ben does have 9-9 in his sights, looking for even more. There can be only one player that has 2 names. Apparently it's Ben. He's looking for the shots right now. Galiko already gets knocked, though, and 9-9. Man, he just stays one step ahead of the bullets.
Yeah, but the blue has caught up to him, so now he's going to have to run and dodge the blue, but he's going to get shot from behind.
Ben, taken down by Morjay. Third party coming in hot, LTK. Well, excuse me, not third party. They just snuck around the side. They were using 9-9 as bait the whole time. That's 2 knocks on the Nox members. And Maurice, the rest of the Nox members, it's Galiko. He's the only one standing. He does get 1 knock for himself, but this fight is proving very costly.
Yeah, it looks like LTK are looking to prove us wrong. Red Bull very close by. Galiko is going to be having to heal up here using the first aid kit. And now it's going to be Morrissey coming in from above. He knocks down Red Bull. And now it's going to be N9 by himself.
Oh, man, looks like we're in for what could be a 1v1 if they can't get these players back on their feet. Maurice gets himself a little bit of health with some consumables, but doesn't do quite enough. And meanwhile, off screen, it looks like there was a big car explosion happening on the 963 members. Haji managing to get a 4K. I wish we could have seen that.
Would have been beautiful. We'll see it in the highlights though. Oh,
Galiko getting Red Bull.
That was just to finish off there, but N999 doesn't seem to have many meds. He's only got bandages that he is using, so this is not going to be a good sign.
He's going to have to run for it here. This is going to be a 1v2 if 9-9 can clutch it out. LTK, the winners of the last match on Vikendi, looking for more here, but he's still well within the blue, finding it harder and harder to get into the safe zone, and Nox know that all they have to do is deny his entry point and they can win this fight. There he goes. Tries to get him in the sights, doesn't quite have the angle, and Nox take him down.
And that was actually, I think, partly thanks to the his footsteps that gave away his position, which meant LTK were aware of him. And you know what? LTK walk away very damaged with only 2 players, but they did prove themselves to be able to recover from a dangerous situation they were in.
Yeah, and we've seen Nox before manage to actually hang out tough with only 2 players remaining, so wouldn't be too surprised if they can get into the safety of this next circle. They can definitely survive a little while, but they've got a long way to go because they are way out in the east, and everybody else is well within the field of play. Safe zone? Well, don't really call it a safe zone, not with that many teams remaining.
No, it's more like the danger zone.
Oh, Galiko's just left his teammate who's downed. So it's going to be a 1-man army for Nox remaining if he can get in there, and he's just got a pickup truck.
Yeah, and the issue with this circle is you can see it chunking down, hit after hit, and they're so far away from the circle that they're going to have to just drive and use the first aid kit. So they probably just split up the meds.
I don't think he's got time.
No, he is going to die from that, if I'm right in saying. And talking about dying.
Yeah, it looks like we see Moha's going out there, so Nox do lose their last member out in 10th place, and it was a promising start from the beginning. There's another explosion happening there on the Headhunters members. SWAT 69 coming up pretty hot there.
And he's actually got the that member there. He has the M249, so we're going to be able to see that gun in play, which is, I think, the first time in the competition so far. So we'll be able to see if they can perform with it. And I'm not quite sure what these guys are doing here. UN, they're all in one building for quite a long time. It looks like they are going to separate out a little bit more. And this is the AUG. It's considered the
care packages.
Upgraded version of the M4. But a lot of people don't tend to like it because the spray is so different to the M4. So when you're trying to go in for the spray, it's a little bit harder. People aren't used to it because it's quite hard to get it and practice with it.
All right. Well, here's LPI, our second place team. They have a chance to really jump out in front this time around with LTK severely undermanned. In fact, they have no players left remaining after that fight with Nox. So this is a really big chance for Light Pirates to really come out in front if they can make it happen. They didn't seem as keen to fight it out last time around. Remember, they were hiding down at the bottom of the frozen lake, but here on Miramar, not so much of a place to be able to do that. No frozen lakes to be found. In fact, no lakes at all. And they'll have to contend with a lot of players here. SWAT 69 and 69 SWAT, I believe, both alive in this one. L&D still up with their remaining 3. KA encroaching on SMP. A lot of fights inbound. Drugs is going to lose. Out to Groza. Great use of that low ground cover.
Did these two teams not turn up at first of all just so they can come in and be like, you know what, we don't even need that first game.
Coming and clutching it, yeah. Ray looking really good here. L&D are having a hard time staying alive, and this was a team that placed into 5th place last time around. Syrian squad looking to be in some trouble. Guns, meanwhile, he gets down by MPJ on the opposite side. A couple more grenades coming out. This time it's going to peg Haji from KA. In this fight with SMP, car blows. Gonna have to back away from it. Another nade comes through. And Lost gets taken out by Seif.
That was a pretty good nade as well. It's going to be potentially securing them.
Medkit here.
Safety.
Full health from Mohamed. Let's see if he can make the play in the scopes. He's looking for it. Tries to pre-fire. Goes in the wrong direction. Finally gets the down on the SMP member. But in comes Seif looking around the side. And they get it. Finishing the job off onto KA. They will go out in 9th place.
9th place is not going to be good enough to be able to secure the points they want. They do get a decent chunk. But even with any kills they got, is not going to be enough. There's only 27 people left alive, 8 teams, and the shot's still going to be coming in here.
L&D still have one.
Somehow alive right now.
That's a very high nade here, but he's got to be careful not to give away his position as SWAT 69 coming in up on him, and he has got nowhere to go with the Blues coming on in. He's going to have to make a run. It was actually 2 members that both got mowed down there by Ray, so SWAT 69 managing to take L&D out in 8th place.
And you know what, I'll give him props for that. He did do very well to try and get out of that position, but unfortunately they were actually aware of where he was, and it was a bit difficult. And look at this, MEA.
They found the remaining 2 Headhunters members. Let's see if they can hunt them down. Wasi, Abbas, Guns looking for it all, but they're playing right up against the blue right now, and it's a little bit of a rough one. Fallistin's coming in for some round 2 support. Free Fire coming in hot and heavy, but it's Wasi that gets knocked down. So Headhunters, like a cornered animal, playing pretty well here. They get several knocks before they lose one themselves. It's Savage.
This is such a dangerous situation. Look at how many people who are down right now.
It's effectively a 1v1. The nade's coming out there.
Oh.
There's the back away. Should be just enough.
Yeah, it was a
smoke. Nah, it's smoke. Okay, he's just getting the cover so he can get his teammates up.
But that did actually put a delay in for the revive, which could actually be the difference between them surviving or not, because now both the players aren't going to be up straight away, which gives them time to recover. But the circle is now going to be pushing in, and even these down players, even if they do get up, there's potentially just a chance they die to the blue.
They're so close to the zone, but unfortunately they're standing behind the other edge of the rock here. We got no time to talk about that, though, because it looks like there's another one between UN and SWAT 69, and UN are going to actually trade a couple of members there before losing a lot more on their own side. Meanwhile, SMP, they're going to split up away. And just lots of scattered firefights here. Now 6 teams remaining, 21 players alive, and it's about to drop much more significantly. SWAT 69 getting a few more UN players downed.
Yeah, and 69 really proving themselves here. They do need to heal up, so they have to be careful. There's a car coming up behind them.
It's going real fast right now, but they blow it to high heaven, and that's going to be another elimination down in 6th place. I believe that was SMP. No, SMP still waiting on the other side. SWAT 69 and 69 SWAT, both alive in this one. MEA.
MEA somehow still alive here. I think it's thanks to the proximity of that circle, which allowed them to. And there's just a cool-off period now, because then they can't really fight HH Headhunters at this point, because they're on the other side of the rock, stuck behind a hard place and quite literally unable to take them on. But nonetheless, they have got a couple other teams they're going to have to take on. There's obviously Team 69 here.
Both of them, in fact.
And Snap as well. Yeah, exactly.
So Snap doing great this time around. MEA, this is their best finish since they went out in 6th the last time, and you can see the high ground vision right now from everything. Headhunters getting 2 members remaining, but they are in such a rough spot because they're on the opposite side of the rock. Up on the high ground, 69 SWAT, or SWAT 69. We'll have to make sure we know which one's which at the end of it, but suffice it to say, both squads doing a pretty good job for themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty surprised, and I am wondering why they didn't come into the first one. Maybe it was a bug.
I think we saw 69 players, so I'm a little bit surprised. Maybe like a few of them didn't load in, but I guess that's all water under the bridge there, Vikendi, you know? Not really everyone's cup of tea, and Miramar certainly favoring some of these teams a little bit better. MEA, speaking of high ground, though, are really making it count here and is trying to use this soft cover to get as much as they can, but Guns does take a shot of damage. They're playing up against the edge of the blue. They're going to have to make moves here onto 69 pretty quickly.
Yeah, they don't have the advantage at all here. They're going to have to sort of rotate down in towards the enemy's territory, and there's going to be 2 teams there, and Snap should have them locked down. And
Snap's in a good spot right now.
Yeah, and I mean, 69 is just going to be able to back them up as well. But
they've had such a quiet game, too. Snap have really just kept away from a lot of the action.
Yeah, and talking about action, and oh, he does run over his own teammate there, so it does a slight bit of damage.
That feels bad, man.
But 69 might just be meeting up soon enough here. as these guys are going to have to try and pick up their car because unfortunately if rolled back into the blue. Oh, there you go. Some shots coming out from the other 69.
Lush in there. They have got 2 compounds available for themselves. You can actually see Captain kind of occupying this other house. And in comes the cars. Looks like it's going to be a welcome wagon on the opposite side, though. The good split for the 69 members. So which 69 team is going to reign supreme? We'll find out in just a moment. Here we go, a little bit of pre-fire. Moha. They get one down at MBJ. Meanwhile, Folliston is actually going to get knocked by Lashin on the opposite side. So we got third parties coming in. Left, right, and center. Grenades flying. There's fire in the house there. Captain can't get out as easily. Smoke comes through. It looks like MBJ is going to get finally taken out by a frag from Zord. Captain's managed to avoid the house, but he's going to wrap around the side, and he gets taken down before he can do a damn thing. Way too many members of the opposite 69 squad on, and they haven't lost a man.
Yeah, and Narco's still alive right now, and Lashin, who's on the other side of the compound.
Yeah, but Ray's tracking him. Let's see if Narcos can get in there. If he can actually get a couple members down, maybe we can get the eliminations. A couple of points might be all that really makes the big difference here. Don't want to go out in 5th place, but you've already had a pretty good round. There's Narcos. Oh, Ray's going to get him down. And that's going to be the end of that.
Yeah, and that's that M249, and the push going to be coming in on Snap it. Snap before it's to pieces, but MEE do lose one player, but Sheriff is going to be the one going down. And that's
MEA.
I called them out for a reason, mate.
Yeah, I mean, it's a brilliant breach right there. This is the potential that we were expecting out of them. Yeah. Now, Leshin actually staying alive does mean that his team will at least place 4th place. So this is actually pretty good for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's secure in those spots, and it's some of these clever plays that we should be seeing.
Another package outside there. It's a Groza in that.
Exactly. Groza is an upgraded version of the AK, just to keep everyone informed on that
super
front.
AK.
Yeah, pretty decent. You can't put any attachments on the front end of it. You can't put a compensator, or actually you can put a silencer on it, sorry. But it's got an inbuilt compensator in the gun, apparently. But it does a bit more higher fire rate, but can't shoot as far.
Actually, pretty decent in this type of situation when you think about it, because you've really only got a handful of compounds left. You can see from above right now with our 4 teams remaining. It is MEA, it is SWAT 69, it is Launch-In as well from 69 SWAT, or just making sure I get the right one. And there's still a handful of Headhunters members. This is the bait, but he's playing just up to the edge. His knee is outside the zone.
That is so unfair, but fair play to him. So Ray going to be going for the rotation. He's got the M249, and we saw it come into play really well. With those 100 bullets, it means you can take down a whole team very easily as long as you hit your bullets, which he was doing very nicely. So 69 have backed away from that compound, and now they're looking over to this package, and also with the scope in, they're trying to take a couple of shots here when they can.
Oh boy, Moha trying to find as much as he can onto the MEA members. Making a run back inside one of the few remaining safe spots, chucking grenades as he goes. Looks like that was a smoke, just to clear vision.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the important things to remember with these crates is they actually hold a fresh load of armor, and armor does deteriorate over time as you take damage from shots and grenades and such. So you have to be very careful in trying to maintain that as a resource.
I can't believe this from the Headhunters members. They're just playing literally backed against the wall right now. And Guns is going to get dropped down. That's the first member of MEA to get knocked in this fight. Falston is going to pop himself an energy drink. Might want to go for a run to get him back up. Guns is meanwhile going to try to get his way back to the safety of his teammates, but peeked just a little too far into the 69 members.
I think it might be a bit too late for them to be able to pick him up. They're now going to get taken down. It's actually HH going down to Lashin, who's joining in, and now Headhunter's going to be coming under fire, having to revive.
Yeah, Guns will manage to, or will end up falling finally. ZRBT does put him 6 feet under for the time being. Ava's going to be careful there. Lanchin wrapping around the side. He sees them. They don't see him at all. He gets the double knock, the double kill.
What a play coming in from Lashin, who is by himself, and he just got himself another position here on this leaderboard.
That 69 SWAT managing to stay alive with just Lashin right now. What a brilliant play from him, but this is why you always check your 6. Abbas does get taken down by Groza from 69 SWAT. Folliston is going to follow on by taking him down as well, and it is an all-out brawl here outside this compound, but it looks like MEA come up clutch in the end. Ray's still alive, but can you believe it? Lashin, he might prove that his team is the superior 69 squad.
Might well just be able to do that. Ray, who's still hiding away in that hut, maybe just be able to survive this. But look at this nade. Falacid trying to get it in through the window. Has it landed? Not quite. It was so close.
So close. Lashin's actually coming in here. You've got 4 players alive on 3 teams. This is nuts right now. If Lashin can do it, if he can make it happen for 69 SWAT.
Ray's just grenaded him. He's taking them down.
Oh my goodness.
It's 69 versus 69.
All right, so who's going to reign supreme, 69 SWAT or SWAT 69? First aid kits popped both sides around. Ray, his ghillie suit.
Devin. They've got
Tom.
they've got 19 kills.
That's insane.
Ray's team has 19 kills.
That is insane.
He could get 20 kills. We talked about this. I think the high score we've seen so far is 17 in the Europe teams. But this is crazy.
But Lashin had an incredible clutch there. Finding headhunters around the side and pre-fires into the smoke there. Raised that down to about half health here. And Lashin's in full. Remember, he got himself fully revived off of a med kit.
Yeah, Ray's a little bit low on HP, so it's going to be more difficult, but he's trying to go in for those fires through the smoke.
Oh, what a 1v1 here. Ray looks for the peek, and he's going to get dropped. Oh, it's going to be finally. Lashin going down, and SWAT 69 taking the match. I can't believe it. These teams didn't turn up last time around, and they come in so clutch.
They just got 20 kills.
That's insane.
They got 50 points from that one game. That is insane, so I have to give them mad props. And one of the main reasons why he won is that Lashin's helmet, level 3 helmet, was on its last, I think it maybe had like 2 or 3 HP left on its helmet. So when he got shot in the head, it disappeared, and then the second headshot came out, and he went down. So if he'd actually picked up another person's helmet, if there was any, he could have potentially won that fight. But
Well, it looked like he was going to with the full health, but it's deceptive when you have the armor.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, when he didn't have that armor, it really put him at that disadvantage, like saying, but really good props to both teams, Lashin especially, being able to survive like that. And MEA finally going to be able to make it up into the top 5 here, and also getting a decent amount of kills as well.
Yeah, no, but seriously, I think the big turn of events having both 69 squads really step up to the plate and end up in a final position. Lashin doing an incredible job of keeping his team in that game by finding the 2 Headhunters members and opening up some space for himself. But at the end of the day, the outplay came to SWAT 69. Really good play by them.
I have to give it to Ray there. He made full use of that M249. It's just funny because you brought it up last game, and you were like, it's just an M249. Well, there you go.
Apparently
guys.
not. I will eat my words. I'll stand corrected. Ray put it to excellent use.
He must have heard you. He was probably watching this when he wasn't able to play, and he was like, gonna prove Devin wrong there. Easy peasy.
Well, he got me this time around, but he got everybody else as well. 20 kills to the SWAT 69. That's insane.
He had 9 kills by himself.
I mean, that's top frag. So that's 20 points on top of the 30. They'll pick up a clean 50 across the way.
And that's going to put them right up on the scoreboard.
They really should, actually.
I think that's probably going to be within the top, maybe even, top 8, I think. Or
get close to it. I mean, we'll take a look at the standings when it comes in again before the next game, but that is honestly nothing short of incredible. And if they can repeat that performance or even get close to it, while we'll go into Erangel for the next 2 maps, that is going to really start to catapult them over the edge. Remember, the current leaderboard, 114 points for the real deal. They just got close to half that. Let's take a look at the highlights, though, for this game. It all started out with some pretty interesting fights between Nox and LTK.
And LTK falling. The previous winners aren't able to sort of try and clutch out here against Nox, who just proved a little bit better here in this situation. And 9 and 9 trying to clutch out, trying to take these guys down and get some meds because he only had bandages left over.
Here's when they blew the car here. That was the start of the Headhunters fight. And Ray, there's what you're talking about, picking up a whole lot of kills for himself. And then Groza managing to do the same thing as L&D were trying to bail out of this house. They just take him down.
Yeah, and I'm fairly certain he pretty much 1v4'd them in that situation because he was just holding them off and refused to let them in. And
so many Ray highlights this game. Look at that. The double down. They had to move, so he kind of was like shooting fish in a barrel there, but it didn't matter.
Ooh.
And this was that cool holdout right behind the back of the wall where the Babe actually manages to avoid so much damage by standing in the back of the tree, and MEA get 3 downed. But Falastine staying up meant they were able to fully recover in this one. To Savage, he does stay alive after that fight happens. And here up on the high ground, UN find themselves the victims of SWAT 69, all getting completely wiped.
Yeah, and they did manage to knock one and almost SWAT as well, but it didn't quite work. And look at that spray coming out, knocking them down, not even needing that M249.
Everybody on SWAT 69 actually really stepped up and had a pretty big play. But here's Lanchin around the side. Headhunters did not see him at all. He gets an easy mow down, and for a second it looks like 69 SWAT might be able to do it. But finally, the finishing, the outplay, that level 3 helmet, a little bit of tick, and that was it.
We found out which team was better.
Yeah, well, which one?
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, though. They picked up 50 points, so 19 more, and they'll be living up to their name.
Oh,
They've still got plenty of room to grow, man.
Definitely, and I mean, I think when it comes down to them performing better, both teams actually seem to have the gun skill and also some tactical knowledge. Like Lashin, we saw him put that into play, along with obviously the opposition. Ray did that as well, but I think they just had more opportunities of being able to find people because SWAT 69, if I'm right in saying,
that was the ones that took it at the end of the day. Yeah.
Okay, so 69 SWAT, I mean, they got into compound a little bit earlier than SWAT 69. So it's going to get confusing.
It is really going. I really hope one of the teams doesn't do as well next time because it's going to get really weird, but we'll see what happens. Either way, and of course, for all of you guys who want to find out more information and also to check the rosters as well as the standings as they are updated up to the minute, you can go ahead and check out clubopen.pubgmobile.com for all of that stuff, including VODs, in case you manage to miss a match. Man, that's a real tongue twister.
Yeah, but you got to go check them out, guys, because although you may be tuning in for all the games, you may want to watch them a bit later or a bit, tomorrow morning as you're eating breakfast or anything like that. But where can they find them?
Well, you can find them, of course, on youtube.com/PUBGMobile Esports. Smash that subscribe button, and as Wee Freeman is always reminding me to do, make sure you hit that notification bell so you'll be notified every time we go live.
It's ding dong. You got to ding dong that notification
No, you
bell.
ding it, and then it dongs right back.
There you go.
That's how it works.
And you get the notifications. So that's going to be beautiful to see. LTK, just to round it up, didn't perform in this game. They fell short to Nox. It's time to see if SWAT 69 and 69 SWAT can perform in the next game.
Well, we are going to be moving on to Erangel for the final two, but before that, we'll be taking a quick break, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more of the PUBG Mobile Club Open.
Hi.
Hey, buddy.
Yo, Mike, are you ready?
Wait. Should I go with the UMP9 or use it?
Sun's out, guns out.
Gear up for summer.
Ready?
Okay. Well,
Ready?
Sorry. I'm late.
Any plans for fall break?
happy graduation! You made it, bro. So proud of you.
Sorry I'm late. What a day.
I hear ya.
Get
Come
this.
on!
Hey,
Watch out! Take this!
that's
Hey!
the real battleground.
Are you ready?
Royale Pass Season 6 is here. This season's theme is 1 year anniversary of PUBG Mobile with lots of rare items. We've also added lots of more realistic and hardcore items to your Royale Pass rewards. Turn yourself into an elite soldier. UC spent in Royale Pass will be fully refunded as your Royale Pass ranks up, so you can buy next season's pass. Royale Pass.
Ha! Gotcha. Royale Pass. You deserve it.
Zombie, Darkest Night, the newest mode in the zombie universe, is here. This time, the rules are different. No more parachuting, as players will be placed at random locations on the map when the match begins, and there is no single winner. Players must work with their teammates to spend one long night in the match and stay alive until the sun comes up. Waves and waves of zombies will spawn during each of the 3 foggy periods at night, and supplies should only be scavenged when the fog fades. The main objective is not to defeat other players, though this doesn't mean they are harmless. Players may need to work with other teams when necessary, but should also watch their backs in case the Fragile Alliance goes south. This will be a unique experience for every player involved. This new mode also comes with a passive skill for every player. Understanding these skills will be the key to staying alive in this long night. Can you ride out the night?
Do you play PUBG Mobile? Maybe you never run out of stamina. Maybe you're always aware of your surroundings. Maybe you're an amazing cook with the pan. Maybe you're a great driver. But as soon as you hear the sound of an airplane, you get into the zone. In PUBG Mobile, you all come from different walks in life. But you face the same dangers on the battleground. And you become friends. You work together to overcome the obstacles. This is PUBG Mobile. There's a number one in all of us. Welcome to the PUBG Mobile first anniversary party. PUBG Mobile. Be the one.
1 year ago today, PUBG Mobile went online in over 200 countries. On the 1 year anniversary of the game, we're here with you to witness the honor and the glory. The Anniversary Royale Pass will go live as scheduled with the usual variety of rewards and a load of anniversary exclusive items, such as the brilliant anniversary outfit, the retro anniversary set, and the L&Q Chicken M762 finish. Don't miss out. PUBG Mobile, be the one. UC spent in Royale Pass will be fully refunded as your Royale Pass ranks up, so you can buy next season's pass. Royale Pass, you deserve it.
Hi.
Hey, buddy.
Yo, Mike, are you ready?
Wait. Should I go with the UMP9 or UC?
Sun's out, guns out.
Gear up for summer.
Ready?
Okay. Well,
Ready?
Sorry, I'm late.
Any plans for fall break?
happy graduation! You made it, bro. So proud of you.
Sorry I'm late. What a day.
I hear ya.
Get
Come
this.
on!
Hey,
Watch out! Take this!
that's
Hey!
the real battleground.
Are you ready?
Royale Pass Season 6 is here. This season's theme is 1 year anniversary of PUBG Mobile, with lots of rare items. We've also added lots of more realistic and hardcore items to your Royale Pass rewards. Turn yourself into an elite soldier. UC spent in Royale Pass will be fully refunded as your Royale Pass ranks up, so you can buy next season's pass. Royale Pass.
Ha! Gotcha. Royale Pass. You deserve it.
Zombie, Darkest Night, the newest mode in the zombie universe, is here. This time, the rules are different. No more parachuting, as players will be placed at random locations on the map when the match begins, and there is no single winner. Players must work with their teammates to spend one long night in the match and stay alive until the sun comes up. Waves and waves of zombies will spawn during each of the 3 foggy periods at night, and supplies should only be scavenged when the fog fades. The main objective is not to defeat other players, though this doesn't mean they are harmless. Players may need to work with other teams when necessary, but should also watch their backs in case the Fragile Alliance goes south. This will be a unique experience for every player involved. This new mode also comes with a passive skill for every player. Understanding the skills will be the key to staying alive in this long night. Can you ride out the night?
Do you play PUBG Mobile? Maybe you never run out of stamina. Maybe you're always aware of your surroundings. Maybe you're an amazing cook with the pan. Maybe you're a great driver. But as soon as you hear the sound of an airplane, you get into the zone. In PUBG Mobile, you all come from different walks in life. But you face the same dangers on the battleground. And you become friends. You work together to overcome the obstacles. This is PUBG Mobile. There's a number one in all of us. Welcome to the PUBG Mobile first anniversary party.
Welcome back, everybody, once again to the PUBG Mobile Club Open. I am still Pirate Tangus. He is still Wee Freeman, and we are still bringing you even more of the MEA region here today. It has been some spicy matches, first on Vikendi and then on Miramar. But guess what, Tom? We are going all the way to Erangel for the final two.
You actually said it right. Erangel, not Erangel.
Oh, I think we were going to say Wee Freeman. I was like, yeah, I cast with you for 2 days now. I should probably know your name.
Just call me Tom.
Just call me Tom. Radio Tom, apparently. Good stuff.
Radio 1. Yeah, you know, well, Radio PUBG. Club open.
That's a long time. I don't think that really fits in the, the radio code, like, maybe PMCO 2019. That's our hashtag, of course.
Go check it out. Make sure to use that when you are tweeting about us, talking about us, and talk about your favorite teams. And talking of teams...
Well, let's take a look at the standings. As they stand currently, there are a couple of teams still kind of creeping up into the standings there. Squad 69, who didn't actually load in our first match of the day, actually managed to creep up into the 7th place position off the back of a chicken dinner and a whopping 20. Yes, you read that right. 20 frags. They were the gods of Miramar, especially right at the very end of that firefight. And honestly, a couple of more of those, and they will definitely be overtaking the real deal. They might even be a realer deal.
Exactly. They're only 15 kills behind the real deal, or TRD as we refer them to mostly, and only 4 kills behind 7T, the 7 Reef team as well. So they're catching up with these guys, and once they get a couple more good placements, they could easily even overtake a couple of them if they do well. I mean, if they do another 50-point game, we could see them do it. I think maybe overtaking them is potentially a bit of a long stretch, just due to the fact that they missed that first game, and TRD did get some points from it, so they have got that advantage, but they also didn't get any 50-point games themselves. But moving into the next list, we do see a couple of teams. LTK are in 9th position here with a total of 47 points. Only 7 points they get ahead of MEA.
Yeah, MEA's kind of really creeped up on that because they had an okay match on Vikendi. We thought maybe they'd perform a little bit better based on the tactics they were employing, and they definitely did in Miramar. So looking forward to Erangel, see what they can do. Headhunter placing pretty well, but they did drop a little bit there to 69 SWAT on placement, who, of course, aren't going to be as high up in this standings because they also didn't load into the last game. So taking a look at the rest of the teams occupying these spots, these are mostly teams that are just kind of coming into their own in that second match. We'll see how it goes going forward. And here, 17 through 24, we have a decent mix of teams that have actually been playing the last couple ones. There is 69 SWAT over in the 21st position. And also, it looks like KA Squad, TUB, and United Nation, they're going to be kind of joining them down in those spots. And the rest of the teams, of course, in the bottom of the standings. Still some time to make up points, but you're going to have to start now.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a couple of teams to sort of make note on that list is Nox and 69 SWAT. We may be able to see them sort of catch up, but they haven't performed fantastically over the last couple of games. Obviously, we did see some interesting plays from 69 SWAT out the under. Weren't able to clutch out, but they did come in second, so they did scoop up quite a lot of points, and that was technically their first game, it even says on there. So yeah, they're doing pretty well. I mean, half the points of what their counterpart did, so it's not too bad.
It was a second place placement, but so few frags really did mean the difference. So even though positioning is all important, getting a lot of frags, it can mean the difference if you can really stack them up. And here's the final remainder of our teams. There's a couple of teams that still hadn't loaded in. This, of course, includes teams from yesterday's groups A and B that didn't load in any of their matches, but also you see 46 Loot playing one of those matches, 963 in both of those games today. But unfortunately, had a pretty poor placement across the board. 963 were unfortunate enough to run into some early firefights against very superior teams.
Yeah, they got dominated when it came to the firefights. To what guns? What were the main guns there that we saw?
What were the main guns? Well, I'm pretty sure there were a couple of ARs involved in it.
Yeah, it was the M4 and the
M4 and the AKM.
Yeah, and well, AK was definitely good. We did see the Groza drop down and care package.
That is true, but not a lot of people actually picked it up. At the very end, we actually had some people sniffing for it, but didn't end up happening. But of course, to get all the information, all of the stats, and of course, all of the standings and up-to-date stuff, including VODs, in case you miss any of it, you can go ahead and head over to clubopen.pubgmobile.com. It is updated very quickly, actually, so impressive stuff to see that in all of the regions, not just MEA, where we are representing here.
Yeah, we keep it and we watch it between games and everything, so you make sure to go check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. And not only that, make sure you hit that subscribe button over on the YouTube channel. It is youtube.com/PUBGMOBILE Esports. And as I'm always being reminded by Tom, make sure you ding-dong that bell to get the notifications when we go live on the various channels.
close, but I'll give it to you. But make sure to go do that. It's going to be an interesting couple of weeks, interesting 2 weeks between these two groups, and then we'll see who goes through to the next stage. And obviously, for 2.5 million, you want to be doing your best performance, and we have seen a couple of teams not really bringing that through. Like even LTK, who we saw win the first map on Vikendi, but unfortunately on Miramar, they really just fell off the edge.
Seems to kind of. Funny enough you say that because they were falling off the ledge on Vikendi and managing to get the kills despite it. However, we have seen this trend kind of happen in yesterday's maps as well, with Rush to Crush playing really well on Vikendi and not following through. There always do seem to be a couple of teams that have a specialty on some of these maps that we don't see as often. And then things do seem to fall to pieces when we move into those more typical maps that we see, Miramar, Erangel, the ones that we're more used to seeing in traditional PUBG.
Yep, and hopefully these guys take away from this competition, however they do. And they go and practice more of the maps, not just the Erangel and the Miramar. Although it has some strategic value from it, it means you're good on one map and you have that strength. But it does then mean you're going to be weak across the whole, and especially in this competition where we're doing all of these maps. We're not just doing 1 or 2, we're not just doing 3.
We're actually going to have Sanhok on, like, I think tomorrow we'll see finally a little bit of that.
It's going to be interesting.
That's crazy because that's such a small one too, and it is important to step up and be consistent across the levels. As you pointed out, there are very few spots available to get into those later matches. We will have a semifinals in a couple of weeks that will be trimming the 32 teams in this region down into 24, and then after that, the remainder of those teams will fight it out to basically get into the top 16, and when that happens, that's a regional finals. Only one team actually makes it out into the international competition from the MEA region. So of all the teams we're seeing, only one is actually going to be able to make it out. It's like Highlander, but for PUBG.
I'm definitely going to be a bit sad when it comes to that, because a lot of these teams are performing really well, and I think they've got a future. So hopefully they step up to the plate and they manage to secure that one and only place through this. But we're going to be seeing an interesting playing path here, going across from Zaki down to the southeastern side of the map, going right over Milta Power at the end there. So it's going to give a lot of teams a lot of options. They can go to Saverni, they can go to Georgopol, they can go to Yasnaya, and more importantly, Pachinki.
We saw a lot of Pachinki yesterday.
This is going to be the telltale sign. Are we going to be seeing a lot of contention? Because in the last map, we actually saw something completely different. We saw a fight in Picardo on Miramar. We didn't see that yesterday. No one actually went for it at all. So today, we may well see a couple of teams fight with Pachinki, or we may only see one.
Yeah, yesterday most of the fights really centered either on Pachinki or on Yasnaya. Of course, a lot of circles really enforced that a bit. We had a couple of ending ones that went around Potato over there to the east of Pachinki. But we'll see if a couple teams end up dropping a little further out over by Milta Power, or if any of them even decide, you know what, screw it, let's go over to the military base and see what happens. But most of the teams are dropping towards the center. It looks like we'll have at least 2 or 3 squads that will be near Pachinki, and they should be making a beeline for it. L&D do actually drop over on Yasnaya, and they'll be alone, so they get the lion's share of all of that sweet, sweet loot.
Only time will tell on that front. I can't quite tell with all the sort of names.
Oh, no, SMP's coming in too.
So it does look like there is actually going to be a couple of teams there. So there's going to be SMP
and
LND.
Boy.
Oh,
Tom, we got a military circle.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, even with this type of circle, it can actually still land on the mainland. So it's going to be very difficult because teams are going to decide where they're going to be going for the future. The teams, I guess, that have more of a strategic sort of mindset in how they're playing this game, which isn't as many as you may think. There's quite a lot of teams that do just play sort of as on the fly as they go along. So they can actually decide to go on either side of the water there. They may well just decide to hold Military Island, or they may decide to stay on the mainland. And then wherever it goes, it'll either favor a couple of teams or screw a couple of the others.
Yeah, you really have to take that calculated risk at the end of the day, and we're going to see SWAT 69 dropping down to kick things off. This was the team that wanted out with a grand total of 20 frags on Miramar, so we'll definitely be keeping an eye on them. Double-checked during the break which regions they were representing just to make sure I got the right teams, too. 69 SWAT, the team that will be in the purple, they were the team representing Iraq, and they were the ones that didn't end up taking the win. It's SWAT 69 that represents Saudi Arabia, so they were the number ones the last time round.
Ah, impressive. And I mean, they landed over towards Crate, so they should be able to get a decent amount of loot there. We did actually see, I think it was Ray, pick up the Mini 14. So that brings it into discussion of the snipers and DMRs, and we have actually been seeing them a lot more over. We saw it on Vikendi, we saw it on Miramar, and we saw it and we will see it today in this game on Erangel. But yesterday we didn't really see many DMRs used on Vikendi, so it's quite interesting to see how that would change as we go through. And this is going to be Yasnair, so we did see a couple of teams fight over it. This time it's going to be obviously a couple of different teams because different group.
It's big enough for now, though. That's fine. And interesting, Mansion actually has a team occupying it. LTK. Mansion was kind of avoided by the plague yesterday.
Yeah, and I mean the circle didn't land over on the eastern side at all, so it's quite good to be able to see that sort of finally taken advantage of. The plane was very much in favor of teams sort of dropping in around the area. The plane path was just generally very good. It cut across along the main points and allowed teams to be able to spread out. And this is Lipovka, which is quite an interesting place for teams to drop. It was near the plane path, just above Milta Power, down on the southeastern side. And then this is going to be sort of the crate area. Actually, there's going to be Novo, actually, and it's going to have a couple of teams there. That was actually 69, and also, I couldn't actually quite see them there, but there's going to be 2 teams fighting over Novo there.
Yeah,
on Military Island.
That's interesting stuff that a couple teams did opt to really make that quick switch up over to there. But we're going to check in with this fight over in Vesnaya first. Well, at least we're going to check in with the teams that are making their way in that general direction, whereas we do see 69 SWAT kind of going on a bit of a cruise right now. So a lot of teams decided, where we drop, this isn't where we want to be right now. Go and make a beeline for the circle. KA are actually going to do it on foot for the time being, just running across the road. This can be dangerous if there's anybody camped out in any of the buildings that they end up passing, but they don't have a vehicle to work with.
Vehicles are so important, and it's so often that we see. I mean, I mentioned it last game or during the break that so a lot of these teams aren't using vehicles properly. They're not dropping down onto vehicles and then looting, which is something I think we will see as we go on, because we've been discussing it off camera, but there's so many similarities between PUBG Mobile and also PUBG when on PC, the desktop version, when it first sort of came out in the first sort of year or two of its development. And there's so many unique aspects of PUBG Mobile, but the esports side is going to be very, very similar to how it sort of developed on the PC platform. And I see a lot of the same mistakes that happened at the beginning of the desktop version happening right now with these teams. So I'm really excited to see how the scene sort of develops and these teams to develop alongside it. Teams like TRD, I think, will be ahead of the curve, and also 69 SWAT as well.
Oh, yeah. They can get those superior tactics. This is 69 SWAT we will be checking on right now. So as we mentioned, a few teams didn't load in, typically have been the same teams today. So we do have a grand total of 13 with 51 players alive at the time being. And there really hasn't been a whole lot of action early on. Now this is SWAT 69. They're going to be facing down Headhunter, who were one of the longer standing teams last time before they ended up getting 1v2'd up against the last remaining member of a 69 SWAT.
Man,
that's gonna get me all day, man.
It's definitely going to catch me off guard as well. And this is over on Novo, if I'm right in saying. And it's going to be pretty difficult for Headhunters to potentially get out of this unless they decide to take a boat. Because it does seem like SWAT 69 are going to be trying to hold them down in this area. But luckily for Headhunters, there's a lot of protection, hard cover, and areas for them to be able to maneuver. It's a bit of a cross between Miramar and Vikendi in regards to the way the cover works in this map, which is unique, especially as this is the first map that came out, and is definitely probably the favorite amongst most people. Yeah,
I think that's fair to say. A lot of the times people do like an earlier thing because they're so used to it, they've been playing for so long, but it is just a very well designed map, and I've pretty much heard that consistently across the board in PUBG Mobile, that it is preferred by a lot of players. And it's one of the reasons we see Erangel used so much more often.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I think one of the reasons for it is because the settings were sort of made to be played on this map specifically. And so, whereas the map,
early fight. This is SMP. It's Faker that actually finds the first drop. And just going to start with the down, though. So a lot of spraying really traded, but not a huge result early on. Still plenty of room to work with, and they find decent cover. Checking back in with it, though. Looks like Seif is going to be there. However, Faker stepping around the side, getting another one. It's Sheriff knocked down. That's 2. And LND starting off pretty hot right now, the Syrian squad. However, got to be careful there. Seif did find some return fire. Faker turns it back in kind. And he just wants the finishing blow, doesn't want a chance for anybody to get back up, so they will secure that kill. SMP lose 3. It's only Seif right now, and he's up in the top floor of this 3rd story. But you got to think it's just a matter of time with nades coming in.
Yeah, I mean, one thing important to note for Faker is that he went for the finish, which was a big mistake because he then sustained a lot of damage. I think about 99 points of damage, which then failed to allow him to take a lot more early shots against the oppositions. But now the push is coming in from this team. Will he be able to survive?
Seif's actually going to drop down. Good shot by him. He's going to need to make tracks, though, really quickly. Unfortunately, the blue's coming in for him, so he wraps around the side, and he's followed in hot pursuit of the remaining members of LND, and they will get the squad wipe here. knocking out SMP in 13th place, their worst finish today.
Not so bad. I mean, you have to give them mad props for that sort of style of playing. I mean, with a name like Faker, you're going to have to be good.
Yeah, you know, I come from an esport where that guy's pretty solid, actually.
Exactly, you know.
Nice to see him moving into PUBG Mobile.
I mean, imagine if it was the same guy.
Yeah, it would be insane.
Would
but
be
no, nice little tribute there for sure. And they did play really well, L&D. As I mentioned, they were the 5th place squad on Vikendi. We didn't really see them into the top 5 on Miramar, but now they kind of start off hot once again. And remember, this is the only squad representing Syria in the tournament, so they are carrying the banner.
It'd be really nice for them to do well. I do think they've got a couple of bits to sort of improve on. We saw them going in for the instant finish, whereas we don't see teams like SWAT 69 or, no, sorry, 69 SWAT or TRD doing that because they know they need to be able to try and clear out the area first. If they have the opportunity to get the kill, sure. But he pushed around the corner, took some shots, and then got taken down to 1 HP, which was such a dangerous situation where almost turned the opposite way around. And we're finally going to be seeing the fight break out between SWAT 69 and Headhunters.
You can see that mini-map where everybody is. So far, the only ones on the military base. Looks like there's a couple of teams a little bit to the south. But meanwhile, over here at Novo, Moha going to wrap around the side. That Headhunters member down to half his health bar. Got to be careful, though. Moha's taking a few shots as well as he gets his head up and needs to get behind that cover because his Savage is there. Tense fight there between the SWAT 69 members. They got a huge result, chicken dinner and 20 extra kills on Miramar. But can they do the same on Erangel? Molotov coming out. Both on target right now. Headhunter's going to have to move.
It's an interesting play. The Headhunters have got the sort of stims on, so even if the blue does come in, they have a bit of time to be able to play with this. And you can see he's got a level 2 helmet, level 2 body. He's going in for the push, but the shot's going to be coming out, and Mr. Relax is still knocked at the moment.
And Mr. Relax has done a great job really fragging well today as well. Looks like there's going to be another knock, and Mr. Relax will finally go down. They get the finishing shot through the smoke. The Babe tries to get an answer onto ZBRT. Doesn't find it, though. SWAT 69 playing well, and Headhunters finding themselves backed up against the edge.
Yeah, and the edge is not where you want to be. And I mean, the circle is going to be encroaching on them very soon.
Ray goes for the finish. This is the problem. Julius is so far forward. Really hard, but De Savage is going to try to use that moment to get a couple fire down, but he sprays pre-fire a little bit too early. And he takes some shots on the turn as well. Looked like a nade came in. Smacked him on the side of the head.
And this is not a team you want to be playing against this early on. The gods so far getting 20 kills in the game is just insane.
That was Ray, too, with 9 on his own. He was the final player alive, claiming the chicken dinner.
Yeah, you do not mess around with him. And Ray is trying to get a different position on them so you can get a couple of shots off, but they have to be careful. And this is LTK here. They have taken this position. It was right next to... I can't even see where that was. That was actually Gatka, if I'm right in saying. So they still have a bit of movement to do. And then this is going to be the bridge play. This is actually on the mainland side of the bridge. It's not going to be on the military one. And now the boats trying to sort of move out there. I'm not quite sure which team that is. Oh, I think that was a
hello.
That was actually the rest of Headhunters, I think.
Yeah, no, they're still too strong right now, and they do manage to find it down at a Groza. SWAT 69 wasn't really paying attention. There was a third party that entered, Nox actually getting involved in this fight. And now the blue's starting to come in, and it will be closing in on Headhunters, so they're going to be in trouble. Need to start moving, but Ray's going to have to res up his teammate.
This is a really good choice right now to try and pick him up because they have to be very careful because if that blue hits, if they don't have enough meds, it's going to make them suffer. KA have made it across, but they have taken quite a bit of sustaining damage. We do also have a team at 2 here, going to be able to make it across. Headhunters going to be reviving one of their team members, but Team 69 are going to be able to try and take them down, but Nox are now going to be rotating up behind them, potentially causing some future issues.
Yeah, fight stays on this front, but unfortunately both teams inside the blue right now. SWAT 69 want to finish the job, but they're starting to drop health bars as well. It may not be worth it for them to actually stick around, and it looks like 69 SWAT managed to find themselves a nice little out-open care package. Babe's going to be going for a run here through the shipping containers. Let's see where he heads.
Yeah, and I mean, he's going to be taking a lot of damage here, and he's obviously got no stims left, no painkillers or energy drinks, or... actually, he does have one left, so he should actually be taking that roundabout now.
Yeah, he's getting it ready.
Yeah, I imagine he should do, because...
Man, look at this circle right in the center of military base. Everyone's doing a runner for it. Yeah, MEA's super far off right now.
Yeah, they do need to make a move there. They have got the boat, and we haven't really been tracking this, but yeah, the circle has landed into military land, not onto the mainland, obviously, as you can tell by this. And there's going to be a juicy ending towards within the next sort of
SWAT
10 minutes.
69 are really in danger, getting 4 knocked just by the environment at this point. They didn't move off of it. So the winners of the last round, this means things are going to start to turn back up. Ray gets knocked onto his feet. Looks like the rest of the team's actually in a vehicle. They managed to get themselves onto the back of a couple of motorbikes. So two-manning it right here, but losing Ray that early feels really bad if you're SWAT 69 because he was the hero for the team.
Yeah, that's not good news at all. And I mean, Groza is very unlikely to make it as well. He's very low HP, and the BAP is going to be coming up behind. But I feel like he used that injection a little bit too late into this circle, and he's now going to be suffering because his health has gone down so low.
This might be the end of the Bahraini team.
He's got 0 HP, sorry, 0 meds. And look at this. All these guys are trying to swim across from the mainland.
Swim to the care package.
Yeah, I mean, they're swimming across from the mainland, and they're going to get a care package. I mean, it's not a bad combo, but oh, look at this. We may actually be seeing Headhunters potentially taken out if they're not careful.
Oh no, he crashed.
But he doesn't take any
this is going to be it, though. He's slowed down. No, he's finally made it to the end of the circle.
Yeah, so he is inside the circle now, so he should be able to make it a fair distance, but he's got 0 meds, and that stim is only going to take him to maybe just over halfway health.
He's going to need to do some secondary looting for sure if Headhunters want to stay alive in this. Now, they've managed to do it pretty well last time with only 2. Question is, can they do it with just the BAP? And, of course, the bridge strat's coming in. UN going to try to hold out here and see if anyone goes across. But, funny enough, just about everyone's decided they fancy to swim.
Very nice at playing there. I mean, UN, not going to be getting too many opportunities here because, like you said, most players have actually opted in for the boats or swimming. But we're actually going to be seeing a bit of fight here in the center of the circle.
All right, this is 46 and 69 SWAT engaged in battle. We saw this happen a couple maps ago, I believe, on Vikendi, and it didn't end up very well for 40. Or excuse me, not on Vikendi because 69 SWAT weren't in that one. But well, meanwhile, it looks like UN are going to be able to find one down on one of the 963 members that tried to cross that bridge. Meanwhile, checking back in with them as the blue closes in, they'll have to abandon the post.
Yeah, and they do have a couple of vehicles, but they have to be careful. Seems like they did get a couple of kills there as well on that bridge, which we hadn't missed. But back to this firefight, we are going to be seeing a couple of grenades, a couple of smokes going out, trying to now go and revive their teammate there and try and save him from a SWAT, 69 SWAT. Sorry.
Nox is sniffing around as well, so they might end up trying to third-party this one. Meanwhile, we'll see L&D and LTK kind of aware of each other's presence up on the high ground over here. Just sort of on the northern edge of the military base itself.
Oh, and look at this. Nox going to be crashing in.
Oh, boy. And all of a sudden, for 46, things are starting to feel pretty bad. They try to get the res on the teammate, but they end up getting knocked all for it.
Yeah, actually, they stole that knockdown, so they get that point, which is pretty interesting. And MEA are going to start to lose players.
Yeah, they were so far behind trying to get into the base, so this was not to be. This is kind of to be expected that MEA just unfortunately didn't move fast enough. Meanwhile, though, Nox still engaged with this fight with 46. 69 SWAT are actually letting this one happen, but they do manage to pick off a couple. It's Captain who actually does get a knock onto Maurice, and Gallico's going to get taken down by one of the members of 46, so both fighting teams really turn on the newcomers.
Very well played from them. They're just grouping up on them, but it's going to be Alush from 46 trying to take these shots down onto them. Onto SWAT 69 here. Actually, no, sorry, they're 69 SWAT, aren't they?
Yeah, 69 SWAT.
Yeah.
This is the Iraqi side, not the ones that won the last time around.
Yeah.
SWAT 69 managed to almost get out of the bad area, but lost Ray, unfortunately, a little earlier on. Looks like Captain wrapping around, and now they found Ben down. Gonna get the finishing onto him as well. That's Narcos from 69 SWAT, so it really is just a battle of trying to steal away these kills. Still 3 members of Nox. However, they're in some trouble. Gallico, he gets knocked. Very low health for one of their other surviving members, and Maurice is going to have to play interference.
Interference may not be good enough here. Nox are going to be in a very difficult situation. They are on the outskirts. They're not in the center of things, so they only have one team really focusing their attention on them. And that's going to be Alush from above with that micro Uzi. He also got a decent amount of meds, so I don't think they've got many nades left. And look at this.
Maurice is going to find one as he goes for a single-man breach right now, and the rest of the Nox members have actually gotten back up onto their feet, so all of a sudden the tables have turned for 46. And 69 SWAT just seem to have given up the fight right now. There's the big breach, and they will be able to finish it off. Still got to be careful, though. Zico, he finally drops, but there's some heavy casualties for the Israelis.
Heavy casualties, but they do manage to stay ahead of the curve there, and they're going to be able to recover from that situation. They've got a couple of bodies.
Good job by
Nox.
Nox.
Yeah,
it looked really tough for them, but they managed to stay strong with 3 members.
Yeah, I mean, once again, even in the worst sort of moments, they are able to come through. Last time on Vikendi, we saw this kind of happen. And also, no, sorry, actually, we've seen it on every map. Even on Miramar, they came into under scrutiny from LTK, and they ended up being able to survive with 2 players.
Unfortunately, then they lost out to the blue zone, so yeah.
But, you know, they still got a couple of position
Speaking
points
of LTK, they're creeping up on LPI right now. And this may be a little bit of a repeat of Vikendi, where there was the drop-down victory for LTK. Certainly getting favored by the circle that time around, but this time they've had to come to the circle. And Issa on a very frontward position here. He's got to be careful, but he should see them coming. He's playing a sneaky snake. He's not going forward, though, just in the grass. Looks like it's LPI that managed to get the outplays here, using him as bait. He does get knocked and eliminated, but LTK takes some pretty heavy casualties themselves. Medkit coming through for Slom. Issa is eliminated by Red Bull. So it is a 2v3 here for both these sides. 9-9, look at the wraparound. He decides to give it up. Meanwhile, Nox actually ends up trading kills with some of the UN members who come in to clean him up off screen.
That was an insane play for them, but 9-9 trying to help in with his team as the blue are going to be pushing in. Araz is going to go in for a flank. Two of these LTK players are knocked. Araz snaking through, trying to find a play. He has made a sound, so 9-9 knows where he is.
A lot of people on their hands and knees. Some of them able to get back up, some of them not so much. 9-9, one of them. Abbas, he's going to get up. He goes for a run. Going to wrap around this tree. Oh, he hesitates, though, and he gets knocked himself.
That was such a dangerous play. I'm not quite sure how Araz was actually killed there, but nonetheless, 9-9 is going to be able to try and revive his teammate, but I don't think that's going to be the good call. We can see LP have got two players. They're going in for the rush.
4 seconds, and it's just a one-man rush. He does get around the side. This time, he doesn't hesitate himself, and he gets the two-man knockdown. And LPI get revenge for Vikendi.
That was a very well played from McCourt there, from LP, trying to get those kills. Managed to come through with it with very low HP. I think probably about 3 or 5 HP left over. And UN Master going to be able to pick up the loot there. I'm not quite sure what gun that was, but I'm sure we'll see later on. So we have got a couple of teams here who have rotated into the main bulk of the military island. So we have got a team in a military tower there. That's going to be KA. And, you know, military tower or air tower or air control.
Man, I'm loving this circle. This has been a good one today. As you said, really spicy. It is a shame for MEA. It looked like they pretty much couldn't manage to get inside the circle. So, you know, that Lebanese side that we were hoping to see a lot from really just kind of didn't get into the spot they needed in time.
Yeah.
Headhunters still have the Babe here, but he's just been going on a serious road trip through the military base. There's 2 members of Nox as well available, but, you know, some weakened squads left in this one. Looks like 69 SWAT still up and healthy, though they have all 4. And they've got KA on the opposite side of one of these compounds.
And the thing is, I don't think this whole area was looted. So Baby should actually be able to get some meds or at least something from the buildings he's going to be able to loot, as long as he actually just does go for that, because it's obviously a bit of a risk versus reward. He's not fully aware of everyone is. And look at this, LND are going to be pushing up onto 69.
And the Bep is just going to be cruising behind his own car. I mean, if they can sneak another great placement finish out of this, that would be really impressive from the Bahraini side, if they can manage to make that happen. But for the time being, he's going to have to stay hidden, keep himself secret, keep himself safe as best he can. Looks like we're going to be in for a 4-on-4-on-4.
3 teams, very close proximity. It's going to be an interesting turn of events for them. But we'll see what ends up going out in a moment. We're just going to be observing, and Nox, who have managed to rotate on over into the circle as well inside this cover. They're now going to be pushing a bit further in as well.
And LPIs are making 2 members.
Yeah.
So a couple squads with 2 members strong and a lot of battle experience between them. You know, really a lot of back and forth firefights, knocks and revives all across the board. But here we go. Looks like the Breach is coming in. LND are going to be the ones to start this off against KA and 69. SWAT, Narcos, on point duty. The rest all covering it, but there's a big spray in for Faker. His teammate gets knocked immediately.
Oh, and now
he
the
gets
third
as well.
team coming in.
Yeah, it's going to be Drugs. LND just realized they shouldn't have breached so early right now. It is only going to be Needle to try and get his team back up, and he's going to fall. That's the elimination. Out in 7th place for LND.
That was really well played. They just got sandwiched there by these 2 teams, so they went aggressive and unfortunately got backstabbed. K going to be able to prove ahead of the curve there, and Bait Brother still somehow alive.
He's just biding his time, man. That's all you got to do for Headhunter. I mean, you can play defensively when you're down to 1.
Yeah, and it was like the nerves on the lad there, because he was just laying down in the grass. If he made a single step, he was probably dead. Those 2 team members from Nox would have found him and finished him off, flatlined him.
Just let him go through. All right, so UN still have a couple of members here. And remember, they tried to set up for that bridge strap, but ended up having to bail out of it and ended up losing 2 later. They'll have to face off against Nox here, who are coming in. And you can see the Bape is just watching it all off in the distance, trying to creep slowly forward to avoid some of that zone. Meanwhile, KA looking to finish this job that was started by LND here into the 69 SWAT squad, who still have, looks like 3 members available.
Yeah, and they are going to be rushing. Lashin is going to be damaged, so he's going to have to heal up as they rotate.
Oh, they've got all 4. So do KA, though, so this could be a big firefight. These are the only 2 fully healthy teams, I think.
Look at the Bape.
Oh, my goodness. Well, that's what happens when you got a vehicle. You can just put it in the garage, park it.
Oh no, he's seen a player. He knows he has to try and back away here, but he's made a massive mistake.
Well, he's going to have to go back on foot, abandoning the car at this point. But still, nobody's going for him.
He's still alive somehow at this point. And he's going to be able to try and come around this corner, but unfortunately, KA are going to be right here.
Samurai, he's in the blue, and he knows somebody's here right now, but he's got backup, and the Babe does not. That will be the 6th place end for the Bahraini team.
Still have to give it some. Getting into 6th place was impressive, but it's going to be KA now versus 69 here. Captain not coming under attack straight away for Mohammed, who's still, sorry, not Mohammed, Mohammed, if I'm right in saying.
Yeah, I think it's actually shortened for it, but all the same, Nox, they're biding their time here while the UN member's sitting back.
Nox.
LP. Oh, there's another drop coming in. Wow, that's going to be right in the middle. I don't think anyone's going for that.
I hope someone does, because it would just be hilarious. What we are actually seeing is actually quite a lot of different teams making it through to the end here. We haven't really seen too much from LP or
There's
KA
5
before.
squads still alive with 13 players.
Yes, a lot of team members left alive.
I mean, this is actually really good for 69 SWAT, though, because SWAT 69 went out so early. Lashin does actually get a down onto Haji, and they managed another one as well. Lashin kind of used himself as bait there on that breach. Hamad coming back in. Back over to Lashin's view. It looks like 69 SWAT winning that one pretty handily. And they eliminate all of the KA members out in 5th.
Yeah, we did call them out for not having the best of plays last game, but it seems like they're looking to try and prove themselves this time round that they can get some kills.
Oh, no! Master? What the heck was going on there? Looks like his teammate's going to have to get him back up.
I'm just going to say now, UN, you need to do some grenade training there, because that is not how you use grenades. You need to throw them at your opponents, not hold on to them without the pin in them.
Well, maybe Nox can show him how. Looks like Benz is going to go for a little bit of a breach there. Maurice still hanging out on the outside, on the outskirts. But they've got to move pretty quickly. A lot of these teams that are not in the compound need to go pretty fast right at this point. M7MD, he can't get his teammate back up in time.
But it does look like Nox are doing what he said, showing them how to use the grenades. Knock down Master, which is going to be one of his, I think, maybe even second or third knocks. And
look at this for 69 SWAT. Yeah, they're coming in. They're going to go for the breach themselves. They smell the blood. This is the only fully staffed squad. All 4 members remaining for them. Everybody else is down to 2.
Yeah, so they have every advantage here, and they're going to have a building to themselves, whereas Nox are trying to share one with UN. LP actually have their own as well.
There's actually only 3 members on 69 SWAT, but that's fine. You still got a man advantage. UN have 1 member that is incredibly low here, and Nox as well have Maurice, who's down to about not a whole lot of health. That's like 15 maybe.
Oh.
M7MD.
Mind, what are you doing?
This time, big nade there, and it looks like it's Narcos going down, getting knocked by Maurice, though. Nox still having some firepower in him, and it's going to be a fight inside this house. This might be the final one.
Yeah, I mean, 69 squad just trying to get into this building here and trying to find some capital themselves. And Mind finally going to be able to chuck a good nade. Morsey, is he going to go down? I think he's going to be able to find cover, but only just in time. This is a crowded place. There's 3 teams here.
Yeah, this building ain't big enough for everybody right now. There's still 4 teams alive. LPI actually watching it on the outside. Doing what they do best. They really are good at just not making a whole lot of noise. And, man, hey, there's an AWM in that, but I don't think anyone's curious about it anymore because it's all about the fight inside this house.
All about that house. That house.
Whose house is it?
Apparently the big bad wolves, and that's going to be Mr. I can't even say that name. Sorry, Aluz, maybe?
Yeah.
Dr. Aluz.
Dr. Aluz, okay. He's going to be going for just covering all these windows right now. He's got Maurice in here, so a bit of positional traded. Nox have actually taken control of this side of it. That was UN's earlier on.
That's pretty good, and it seems like...
Oh, sneaky snake. It's Captain. Look at that. He's going to be seen, though. He stops for just a second, just under cover. Dr. Aluz can't quite get an aim on him. Looks for it. Decides he does not want to drop down.
Yeah, dropping down on that point would be bad.
Master's getting dropped down, and that means Narcos and the rest of 69 SWAT coming up supreme there. Lashin with the finisher. Still 4 teams alive, but it's down to 1 player for the UN side.
Yeah, where is he, though? That is the thing. I think he's outside the building, so
he's waiting.
He is inside there. As the push comes up the stairs, he has to be very careful, but the positioning is fairly decent for him. Narcos isn't going to dedicate.
There we go. Narcos, he's actually going to get knocked as well. Lashin does manage to finish off the last remaining member of UN, knocking them out into 4th place. Morsey getting dropped down to his hands and knees, and Lashin and Captain not going to go for the finishing blow because Narcos is knocked as well.
Yeah,
here's Dr. Aluz.
There's a lot of damage done to them. They have to be very careful. So Lashin's going to go for a clever play. He has got those tactics behind him. I'll give him that. And he's going to run into the other building, which was actually a pretty dangerous play.
That's the finisher, so it's just down to Dr. Luz to try and save the day here. Lashin does get knocked though by one of the LP members. They finally decided to make their move, and now they'll get the finisher off into Lashin. Is this the LP time to shine right now? Oh! Corp just couldn't quite get the scope up in time. Captain finishes him off. It was a good attempt here, but LP looks like they're going to lose one of their members. They still have Hama. Down to 4 players alive, 2 for 69 SWAT, and 1 apiece for LP and Nox.
And Knuckles finally does
dive to the play zone.
Dives to the play zone.
1v1v1.
Oh, yeah, 3 people left alive here. 3 teams, all representing different countries, if I'm right in saying. So it's so important for them to be able to get this win. It's an extra 30 points, which is just nuts.
Yeah, absolutely right. And 69 SWAT, the Iraqi squad, Nox representing Israel.
And I just want to say, 69 SWAT, they've actually got 10 kills. That's pretty good. It's
I think they saw what happened last game with SWAT 69 and said, you know what, we can do that too. And they're getting damn close to it for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, I'd said maybe it was just because they weren't given the opportunity, and it seems like that's the case. And this circle really favors Dr. Luz here, because they're going to have to move to him, not the other way around, but that is a grenade. That's going to be quite close. Is it going to go out, though, and damage him? I'm not quite sure.
No, it's just smoke.
Oh, it was a smoke. Interesting play from Captain, because he's not going to be able to make use of that, but he could have done a little bit later on, but instead he chucks it a bit early on. If he chucked it in between him and the sort of bushes, he might have been able to cross over and then get a better position, but now it's just going to be Dr. Luz going to be able to maintain his position and dominance on this circle, as these 2 last members on LP and also on 69 SWAT are going to have to try and run in the open here.
Yeah, both Iraqi teams, by the way, facing off here inside this building. Remaining in Nox, of course, as I said, representing Israel. It's Dr. Luz on the outside. In a good position, primes a nade himself. That should be the smoke, just throws it down a little early, and he's actually going to fire a couple of them just to keep his intervals covered as he tries to get away from the blue. Captain and Hama are going to have to move pretty quickly, and they might catch each other in the crossfire out. This is so tense in these final 3.
Yeah, and being able to use this hard cover like this is impressive, but Dr. Luz has some of his own, and he is hidden behind that wall, and now
so little room to work with, but he's making it happen.
Yeah, he's going to have to run out any moment.
Ah, he pre-fires the wrong direction. That smoke, really brilliant here from Dr. Luz. He's going to have to leap out that window pretty quickly. That blue is going to do so much damage here as Dr. Luz just keeps on crawling. And LP playing for the positional game right now, and that is going to be it. Dr. Luz getting the knock, getting the finisher onto the last member of 69 SWAT.
Yep, and he's actually won the game. Hammer can't do anything. He's about to... he's going to die to the blue zone here. Not so good for them, so got to be a GG. Well played to Nox, and I'm not quite sure what was going to happen there apart from that same situation. So
yeah,
GG,
I mean,
well played.
LP at the end of the day, they do what they do best. They play it as safe as possible, try to go in for a couple of kills here and there. But, yeah, you know, I think a second place finish, not too bad, even if you don't get nearly as many frags. But for 69 SWAT, how about that? 10 kills between them right there. And that was just so impressive to see across the 3 members. They lost one very early on, I believe, as well. But for Nox, Dr. Luz really stepping up in the clutch when it counted, especially when Nox were down to 2 members after that early firefight.
Yeah, it was crazy, the amount of shots that were coming out there and people dying so early on. Obviously, going against headhunters, it was really unfortunate.
I can't believe they ended in 6th place because Babe was just like cruising around and hiding himself like out in the middle of nowhere.
They have to give them props. They're playing for position, and headhunters, although haven't been a star team, they have been a notable team because they have done a few.
You need to outlast. That's the important thing. I mean, watch your back as best you can, because that's what undid them last time with 69 SWAT. Lashin managing to find that 1v2 onto Miramar. Yeah, but let's take a look at our highlights here. It really began with a big fight from LND, and it looked like they might be the ones taking it away quickly as they completely wiped the Snap out of existence.
Yeah, and that was over in Yasnaya, and we did see a couple of fights, but then we obviously see a couple more here. It's going to be Nox versus 69 SWAT, which we obviously saw them both walk away with a couple of members left alive. Well, 69 SWAT, actually everyone on their team managed to walk away from this fight alive. Nox did suffer some casualties, but did get a couple of kills, and thanks to this fight, it pretty much led to them being able to get a victory. So
that was beautiful from Dr. Luz, by the way. Here was another one of those fights behind the tree where LPI tried to go in for the plays onto 99 and the remainders of LTK, finally managing to get the win here. But it does kind of go to show that Light Pirates not 100% sure of themselves on some of those aggressive plays. Yeah. And here's KA coming through. They managed to get a little bit more down themselves. Samurai finally taking down the Bape, and he lasted quite a while, but then KA, it was their turn to fall to 69 SWAT.
unfortunately they tried running through the open. It was just never going to happen. K just didn't stand a chance. Going to get taken down, and this grenade.
Oh, you hate to see it.
Of course we highlight that one on them.
Yeah.
So embarrassing.
Bit of a fun fail, but what can you do? Captain here getting the finisher off to one of the LPI members, and he did really well, but unfortunately the way the circle played out and the smoke really well played from Dr. Luz, and a well-deserved victory for Nox after placing into the top 10 and getting decent finishes, but still having some rough ends to it. Yeah. It's nice to see Nox finally at your chicken dinner.
Yeah, and I mean they've kind of deserved it because they've been in those difficult situations where they've not been able to succeed in getting the win or too many kills, but this time they do get the win. Not crazy amount of kills, but a decent and respectable amount. Not quite 10, not quite 20.
They're just very tenacious, I think. That's the key here. Is like they had a couple of fights that went south, and then a lot of teams would play 100% for positioning, but not Nox. Nox managed to make it work with just a handful of members, and then finally Dr. Luz in the solo knew exactly what he was doing. Great smoke play.
Yeah. I was gonna bring up the smokes. The fact that he had used that first one, I did call him out for wasting it, but he then brought in these last two smokes, which actually saved his bacon and allowed him to be able to get a little bit closer and really rail down on the last couple of players there.
Yeah. Love a military circle, though, man. That was a whole lot of fun. You talked about it being a spicy finish, and boy, was it ever. Now, if you, of course, missed any of the action and you are not sure where the standings are, you can, of course, check out our website over at clubopen.pubgmobile.com for all of that information. We have live up-to-the-minute standings as well, so you can get all that stuff there, and you don't have to miss a thing.
Yeah, and I mean, what's even better for that? Where can they watch it? Do they have to watch it right now? Or,
Well,
can they revisit
you
this?
can, but you can also check out the VODs and as well as the live broadcast over at youtube.com/PUBGMOBILE Esports. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and, of course, smack the bell so you get the notifications so you will not miss a minute.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy there. So far, we've seen some amazing performances from all these different teams. From the first game on Vikendi, the second on Miramar, and now Erangel. And now we're going to be going into the fourth map, but very, very shortly. But first, we're going to take a short break very soon. But before we get to that, I just want to mention MEA. Very disappointing.
That was a rough one on Erangel. I think they had no idea that the circle was going to go on to military, and they waited way too long. Expect to see a lot more of them out of the second map of Erangel as well. But we will be coming back after just a short break, so don't go anywhere. The PUBG Mobile Club Open will return in just a few.
Hi.
Hey, buddy.
Yo, Mike, are you ready?
Wait. Should I go with the UMP9 or use it?
Sun's out, guns out.
Gear up for summer.
Ready?
Okay. Well,
Ready?
Sorry. I'm late.
Any plans for fall break?
happy graduation! You made it, bro. So proud of you.
Sorry I'm late. What a day.
I hear ya.
Get this. Hey,
Watch out! Take this!
that's a real battleground.
Are you ready?
Royale Pass Season 6 is here. This season's theme is 1-year anniversary of PUBG Mobile, with lots of rare items. We've also added lots of more realistic and hardcore items to your Royale Pass rewards. Turn yourself into an elite soldier. UC spent in Royale Pass will be fully refunded as your Royale Pass ranks up, so you can buy next season's pass. Royale Pass.
Ha! Gotcha. Royale Pass. You deserve it.
Zombie, Darkest Night. The newest mode in the zombie universe is here. This time, the rules are different. No more parachuting, as players will be placed at random locations on the map when the match begins, and there is no single winner. Players must work with their teammates to spend one long night in the match and stay alive until the sun comes up. Waves and waves of zombies will spawn during each of the 3 foggy periods at night, and supplies should only be scavenged when the fog fades. The main objective is not to defeat other players, though this doesn't mean they are harmless. Players may need to work with other teams when necessary, but should also watch their backs in case the Fragile Alliance goes south. This will be a unique experience for every player involved. This new mode also comes with a passive skill for every player. Understanding the skill will be the key to staying alive in this long night. Can you ride out the night?
Okay, buddy.
Yo, Mike, are you ready?
Wait. Should I go with the UMP9 or use it?
Sun's out, guns out.
Gear up for summer.
Ready?
Okay. Well,
Ready?
Sorry. I'm late.
Any plans for fall break?
happy graduation! You made it, bro. So proud of you.
Sorry I'm late. What a day.
I hear ya.
Get this. Hey,
Watch out! Take this!
that's a real battleground.
Are you ready?
Royale Pass Season 6 is here. This season's theme is 1 year anniversary of PUBG Mobile with lots of rare items. We've also added lots of more realistic and hardcore items to your Royale Pass rewards. Turn yourself into an elite soldier. UC spent in Royale Pass will be fully refunded as your Royale Pass ranks up, so you can buy next season's pass. Royale Pass.
Ha! Gotcha. Royale Pass. You deserve it.
Zombie, Darkest Night, the newest mode in the zombie universe, is here. This time, the rules are different. No more parachuting, as players will be placed at random locations on the map when the match begins, and there is no single winner. Players must work with their teammates to spend one long night in the match and stay alive until the sun comes up. Waves and waves of zombies will spawn during each of the 3 foggy periods at night, and supplies should only be scavenged when the fog fades. The main objective is not to defeat other players, though this doesn't mean they are harmless. Players may need to work with other teams when necessary, but should also watch their backs in case the Fragile Alliance goes south. This will be a unique experience for every player involved. This new mode also comes with a passive skill for every player. Understanding the skill will be the key to staying alive in this long night. Can you ride out the night?
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to the PUBG Mobile Club Open. I'm Pyrotechnics. He is Wee Freeman, also known as Tom, affectionately.
Affectionately. Love it, Devin.
Tom, comma, affectionately.
I love it. And obviously, the meme continues. I am multiple men.
Which man are you today? Or right now for this game 4, the second Erangel? I don't know why I said it that way.
Tom, I guess, you know?
Yeah, it's Tom. Okay, cool.
Tom loves Erangel.
All of the men that you are named Tom.
Pretty much,
I can't tell them apart. This is difficult.
Tom. You know, easy peasy.
Okay, good
Sometimes.
stuff. All right.
Sometimes the navigational system, but
let's talk about that last game, man, because that was...
It was a bit tasty.
It was very tasty, and a tasty chicken dinner was awarded to Nox at the end of it. There was a really brilliant smoke play in that 1v1v1. But before we got there, we had something that made me very happy. It was the first military circle on Erangel in this tournament so far.
So sadistic. It's such an evil circle for most teams. We saw like MEA, for
I mean, it was really unlucky for MEA because they were so far off the west of the map.
I don't call it unlucky. I call it just bad plays.
I mean, they also just very late arrived. Like they didn't have the proper vehicles. They were the only ones that I think fully died to environment. Yeah, whereas everybody else actually just dove into the water.
Yeah, I mean, with them, they quite literally went in for a late rotation because they had to get to some vehicles because they didn't plan out properly. They didn't get shot out once, and then they died to the blue. That is not. That is purely their fault on that front. If they died crossing a bridge or swimming and then got shot as they got out or in the water, then fair enough. That's excusable. That's what happens in some military circles. But this one is very rare, and I was a little bit disappointed because they've actually been playing fairly well. But you know, I may hold a bit of a high expectation of them. But let's have a look at these standings here. TRD still holding top place after 3 games of today in this new group.
Yeah, so there'll be one more game. We'll see if anyone has a chance to upseed. I don't think that's going to happen, though, because all of the teams have kind of traded a lot of places. The only teams that have broken into the top 8, Light Pirates and now Nox. Nox off the back of that chicken dinner, but look that they don't have as many kills as a lot of the other squads that had been doing a lot more work earlier on in this tournament. Now, Light Pirates, they've just placed very highly every match, and they've played so defensively. 7 frags between 3 maps.
Yeah, I mean, when you're talking about playing defensively and, very passively in that last fight, they came second because one of them quite literally hid in the bathroom.
Yeah, whereas the 69 SWAT member actually went out and confronted, ended up losing his life. They got that 3rd place finish. However, that does bring them up into 11th place. SWAT 69, who went out pretty early in that last round but won the chicken dinner previously, ended up getting a couple more frags for their troubles and still sitting in that 9th place spot. LTK, just behind them, with 57. So that's a very close position here in the top 10. We see L&D kind of rounding it out. They've actually now rounded around Rush to Crush, who had a really solid map 1 in yesterday's performance, but then really fell out of favor. And then further down the lines, we see United Nation, who had a decent map in that last one of Erangel, but no other really solid performances. SMP also in there, who... They've kind of had some middling games, like some ones where they've made it very far, some ones where they really haven't. I don't really know what to make of that team, to be honest.
I don't really know what to say either because they tend to be able to win some of the fights, but then a lot of them actually tend to lose. Even if it's that they lose a couple of members, they don't tend to be able to come back from that. If they're not a full squad, they can't really perform.
Yeah, and then here down at the bottom, a lot of the teams, either the ones that didn't load in, you see the 0 matches played, or the teams that have only played a handful or have just not performed very well. Unfortunately, 963, really not doing so hot on placement points, have actually yet to secure any kills for themselves. They've kind of become cannon fodder, but there's always a chance to turn it around. It just doesn't seem like today is their day.
Nah, definitely not. So, standings over. We kind of get an expectation of what we're going to be seeing. If a couple of the teams play sort of fantastically, they may be able to make it to the top, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, and we have a lot more information, a lot more stuff to go. And, of course, if you want to get access to all that information, including those standings as they are updated to the minute, you can go ahead and go over to PUBGMOBILE.com, excuse me, I almost got myself wrong there, and check it all out. You will get the standings. You can, of course, get it not just for the MEA region that we are casting, but also for all the regions in the PUBG Mobile Club Open.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many regions, and it's for a good fight and good cause. 2.5 million, I'm going to say it again and again and again, because it's an insane prize pool here. For PUBG Mobile, it's obviously going to be the biggest prize pool, if I'm right in saying, which is brilliant. It's kind of what we want to be able to see to try and cultivate a competitive scene around this game, and these players are going to be coming around from the whole world, so it's really going to be introducing that.
And you can catch all that action, of course, on youtube.com/PUBGMobile Esports, all the regions. And don't forget, after smashing that subscribe button, to go ahead and hit the bell so you get the notifications and you never have to miss a minute. Good stuff. And, of course, if you're watching us now, you are ready for the fourth and final map. We are going to be getting onto Erangel once again. So this is always kind of interesting when the teams play on so many different maps, but now they finally get to play the same one again. And I wonder what's going to be different. I don't think MEA is going to drop so far off to the west this time.
You know what? I hope they still do, but they've actually learned from their mistake of, oh, okay, we didn't actually get in because we didn't have any vehicles, or we weren't able to rotate enough. Let's get vehicles first of all. So I do hope if they do actually come into this and they sort of see what we're talking about, if you guys want to talk to us and sort of have some feedback about what's going on, or maybe even talk to us about how you got into PUBG, and if you want us to speak about your story on camera as well, let us know what you're doing, and maybe
you hit us up on Twitter for sure if you definitely want to hear us talk a little bit more about those stories. I would love to hear a little bit more about the players too, because this is the thing about the Club Open. There's so many teams. A lot of players haven't really built up a whole lot of established notoriety outside of maybe their own local regions. And as it kind of narrows down, as we start to see the cream rise to the top, we'll see a lot more of those players come into prominence. But we are loading up onto Erangel once again, and this time pretty much the due opposite plane path, coming in from the south over up to the north.
Yeah, talking about rising to the top, and that's exactly what this plane is going to be doing, all the way up to the north there to Severny. Absolutely beautiful. Hopefully we won't see a military circle again, or if we do,
you're not a fan.
Could still be an interesting one. Some of the ones do end up quite nice, but this is also quite an eastern sort of plane. It's going to be cutting off the possibilities for Primorsk and Krory, and I mean, Gatka is still possible on this plane path, but I don't think it is for all these teams, because they're very dependent on actually just landing and looting rather than land, car, and then get to their spot to loot. So we'll see that evolve over time, but at the moment the meta is just to be able to drop down where you can and get some loot. So places like Farm, Pachinki, Shelter.
We didn't see a lot on Pachinki. Of course, the circle moved away from it, but there were a few teams that got there, they looted, they got the heck out, and now here's where the major drops are going to happen. A lot in the middle of the map. You see L&D, you see UN, you see Nox, you see SMP, pretty much all of them here. Now they will split apart a little bit, but it does seem like Rosshawk, maybe School going to be under contest, as a handful of teams still yet to drop out.
Yeah, not so bad. And I mean, the teams that are still in here can go down to Severny. They could go towards shooting range, maybe even Zaki, but Zaki's probably the least played place ever out of all the places here. We have got LTK, LP, who have now dropped out, and that circle comes in, and it looks like that'll probably actually end to the, in my opinion, to the east of, the west of Mansion, just below Yasnaya. That's where these sort of circles tend to land. Look at this, LND dropping on top of MEA.
Oh man, they got to get that loot in pretty quickly, otherwise we'll be in for a fist fight. And Needle kind of dropping himself a little bit wonky for a second, but they will look to vault into that house and try to grab as much as they possibly can before the fights will really get underway here.
They have to be so
Rarely
careful.
You see two people trying to contest for the same loot spot right away.
Yeah, no, I think
MEA back away.
Yeah, LND are going to be able to hold on to that position, and it's going to be MEA just running for their life here. Faker trying to find him. I think it's going to be happening. So MEA is going to run over towards Watertown.
But it's 69 SWAT that have actually found them already. So it's La Shin who gets an early knock on Awasi. MEA, their woes continue.
Yeah, this is not looking so good for them. Not really got the tactical plays here. I thought they would. Very disappointing, but 69 SWAT are going to be able to get the knock there and should be able to get the kill. The rest of MEA seemingly have run off somewhere else. I'm not quite sure where or what. But here we are.
Awasi's already down.
In Novo.
All right, so over at Novo, we do see 963 holding up here again. So a handful of teams did decide to drop onto the island, and there's a tiny bit of it that is available in this first circle, so they might be able to hold out for a little while. Meanwhile, though, you're going to see, looks like LTK kind of occupying a little bit more of this spread area.
Yeah, it's up in Severny to the north of the circle. So it's directly underneath the flight path there. So they're going to have a lot of time to be able to loot here. And look at this. There's going to be a SWAT 69. Eventually going to be able to start looting soon enough. It's a little bit of a delayed one because it did take a couple of boats. Back onto LND.
Looks like they're back over by Milta, though.
Yeah.
But yeah, LNT, and then, of course, SMP, they found themselves a couple of loot spots as well. And they're very split off right now. You got to be careful up against LND. They do like to breach really early, and SMP found themselves on the wrong side of that last time.
Unfortunately, 4 these guys push up against them. Seraph has actually seemingly seen him. He's got his DP 58 58 in his hands.
They'll get the down. Nicely done by Seif there. Actually, a bit of a crossfire between both him and his teammate, but they got it all together. So SMP better start for them this time. L&D find themselves down to 3 and hold up in one compound.
Have to be very careful there. Sorry. Sheriff has no helmet. He has got a Tommy gun, which apparently they do love, but at distance it's not going to be doing too much work. I mean, it can work against these 3 players, but there are 3 of them, so he has to be careful.
So many angles for nades right now, and you can see Sheriff priming one. A little bit of fire going down. We'll throw one out there. You can see Needle already taken down below half his health bar. Sheriff's going to start making moves back through the warehouse again. And they get the down. That was on the other side, though. It's Guns from MEA that actually grabs one. Yeah, and they were locked in a firefight with 46. He's actually managed to get him knocked as well. It's Faustine that does it.
Yeah, this is insane. This is actually over towards North Georgia, in fact. So MEA going to do some fantastic work here.
Way on the other side of the map here. Now Alush and the rest of his team is going to be in a little bit of trouble with these 2 members of MEA here. I don't know where the third is just yet, but he's still up and alive, as Wasim was the only one to die. Yeah,
he's actually managed to get up a floor here, so they're going to be trying to run away here.
Oh boy, Guns going in, getting the finish off. The rest of Loot 46 in so much trouble right now. Meanwhile, you can see in the picture-in-picture Snap members trying to finish off the remainder of the L&D boys that are kind of moving away into the water, and it looks like they will get the down.
Yeah, in the meantime, Mr. 46 here has a double-barrel shotgun and the VSS, and he's going to be playing against 3 members.
Say hello to my little friend right now. Let's see if he's going to be able to pull off the clutch. The smoke's down, but he's actually decided to back away. Kind of lost his nerve here. And there's the breach. Alush does get one. Nice tap. Sprays him down for the finisher. Oh. And here's Faustine, though. They will manage to come and get a little bit of revenge, but MEA did pay for it.
I mean, that's what happens when you go in for the kill. If he would have been able to reload his gun by that point, and he would have also had the VSS.
All right, here's SMP versus L&D once again, but they're down to 2 members, and SMP are nice and healthy. Faker. Oh, big spray down onto Thanos. Big damage. Needle on the top of the building. The only one fully healthy at this point. 2 members knocked. Make that 1 as Faker goes down.
His last member left alive, and he has actually made some noise. He's going to be trying to go for a run here.
Yep, not much he can do, and he just gets gunned down. Drugs, Needle, both finished off at the end of the day, so SMP do manage to win the fight and knock L&D out of this one. And L&D was a team that had been placing in the top 10 consistently.
Yeah, they were very consistent, so I have to give them props for that, but unfortunately it's not going to work in their favor. We do have one of the teams there, I think that was Headhunters, who were waiting for one of the teams to rotate back over towards the bridge.
Yeah.
On the military island, we are now over towards Nox.
And Lipovka, they're the only team over there as well, so if the circle does start to go eastern, that will certainly favor them. But right now, there's a lot more teams that are actually clustered to the north of Pachinki.
Yeah, Pachinki could be quite an interesting spot later on in the game, but I don't think the circle's going to land on that. But heading back on over towards Headhunters, if you actually have a look at where they're positioned, they're gatekeeping or trying to hold out Team 4 there, but Team 4 seem to be wanting to be out the 963 rather, are probably going to try and take boats, because they do realize that trying to cross that bridge is so dangerous.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a roughie, and even if there's one team there, you're not going to be able to get by them. Headhunters really already proved that they can outlast a lot of teams over the last couple of rounds, so it does look like they're going for boats over to Milta Power, or at least in the general direction, and that might help them avoid SWAT 69, which is not a team I don't think anyone wants to run into. And another one, 69 SWAT, going on for a big split here as they run across the landscape.
Yeah, nice jog across the landscape. No vehicles in sight for them, but there is a vehicle on these guys, and they are going to be trying to rotate on over LP into the circle. They're currently in the blue, taking a bit of damage.
LPI, man, every single time. They always find a nice little hidey hole and just post up. Maybe they're not the best at getting those frags, but they certainly know how to survive.
Yeah, I think they might have actually been up in towards Zaki, if I wasn't wrong in saying.
I think you're right, actually.
Which is absolutely insane, the fact that they're over there. But it was clean looting and very passive, which is exactly their play style. And now they have to get in. And look at this. This is going to be a 69 SWAT looting up. Captain come on and over, the hero of his team from last game, getting them into that 3rd spot, which was fantastic. Really trying to help them secure the catch-up against SWAT 69. And then we've got 963 rotated in via the boats.
Yeah, and they're not going to get spotted by anyone here, so just kind of playing to the edge of the zone, which works out for them this time. There's been a lot of good splits, so only a handful of teams actually ran smack dab into one another, and it really was just who got the loot first off.
Yeah, and I mean, it's going to be ending up right next to Milta Power.
Oh, look at this. They're just racing the circle on the LPI side.
I mean, if they crash that vehicle and explode, it'd be terrible news for them, especially when you're under panic.
Why would you say something like that?
I don't know. Maybe it's amusing. Maybe I want to see some carnage, some mayhem.
This is coming from the guy that hates military circles.
Yeah,
all right.
Well, we'll see.
It looks like we're going to check in on MEA. They do have only 2 members up and alive right now, and Falstein also has taken some damage, but it's a huge split. This is over by Georgia Pool, so pretty darn far away.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a look at the distance as to where they have to go, they have to get inside the sort of area near Pachinki and Rozhok.
A lot of teams around there, too.
And look at Headhunters. They do not have a clue that 963 have already crossed. So they're going to have to cross the bridge, and they're going to be bumping into probably a team you want to be staying the hell away from.
Yeah, and our next circle is going to come in. It will go to the east, so this actually favors teams like Nox. Even though they're currently outside of it, it will actually work out pretty well for 963 because there's nobody there over by Melta Power. They can actually kind of hold up and slowly make their way up to prison.
Yeah, and I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what ends up happening here. Some shots coming out near the care package. Not sure if anyone's going to be able to get that. Headhunters still surviving here at the moment.
A little bit of equipment and AUG also inside that box. Nobody's really keen on it for the time being. Headhunters all in the car. They're perfectly fine right now. They will actually have to go across the bridge, unfortunately, though. And there's definitely a team gatekeeping them, and it's SWAT 69. That could be a lot of trouble. LP, meanwhile, just going to turn on the radio and have a nice little cheeky drive down the road.
And it seems like they have actually spotted that there is a team there, so they are actually just going to try and go for the long rotation, which means they are going to take some damage.
Ooh.
And we are going to be seeing that care package
LTK
picked up by
find it.
LTK. Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, definitely not bad for them. I mean, when you're in a vehicle and you don't really have anything else to worry about, you can get away with it. So here at Milton Power, 963 are going to get some extended looting going before they end up having to move west.
Yeah, and they are a team that we haven't really seen much from. They've had very little success. They've died out very early, and look at that cherry blossom tree. That's not usually theirs. That's pretty cool.
It's a nice little change of pace.
That's cool that they've got.
Well, it is just about in season, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's just started, so it's very pretty. But yeah,
this is cherry blossom.
Yeah, this is Rozhok? Yes.
Yeah, so SMP, 4 members strong. They've actually had a really solid round right now because they took that early fight on against L&D and took them out of the picture, even though the opposite happened to them the previous time around. We'll also check in with KA, who had been playing just outside the circle, but very, very much in a safe spot because they were playing really just to the north of Ferry Pier and then kind of moving their way now closely up by Pachinki.
Yeah, and so we are going to be seeing the landing from this team here. This should be Headhunters, from what I'm saying it is. And so they have secured their position sort of back into the circle, but they now have 0 vehicles, so they had to give up their vehicles to be able to get in. And this was actually a very smart play. I do give them props from this. I'm not quite sure how they realized there was a team across the bridge. It is a usual thing to happen, potentially in these circles.
Might have just assumed.
Because, yeah, and I mean, well, as well as the circle, sorry, not the circle, the plane path went from south to north, and so it kind of gave them a potential indication that because they dropped out with another team, one of the other teams may be gatekeeping them because they knew some teams were on Military Island.
Yeah, checking back in with Nox, they're probably in the best position right now. And after getting the chicken dinner last time around, they had to be feeling pretty happy about things. However, a fight has started up between Headhunters and SWAT 69, and the BAPE is going to get put in the ground already. Exposed out in the open here, trying to get down on their bellies, but it just doesn't seem to be working too well. Mr. Relax is going to be full health, and let's see if he can get a little bit of a spray down there. It doesn't look like it's happening. Disavage, he gets knocked as well.
Yeah, they tried to avoid them, but it's just not going to happen. And now SWAT 69 are going to have more backup, and now there's only 1 player left alive on
Oh boy, all down to 1. And Headhunters survived so long last time around, but they're going to lose everybody. It's just Julius. There's a lot of crossfire coming, and he knows he can't get back up off of the ground. He's just using that tree for now, and the smoke keeps him covered, but not for long. That's going to be the finisher. So SWAT 69 managed to get themselves a 4K and take out one of the competition, ending Headhunters in 11th place.
I was in the same lane from SWAT 69. They had, when I say insane play, I mean as in they played from different angles. They had their players come up and back them up. And look at this circle. I called it, you know, but right next to sort of
just
Mansion and just now.
Yeah, you can rewind the VOD and yes, you're right. You're correct in this place. But look at where all the teams are already starting to move to. Very few are actually still outside of this. And it looks like we're going to start getting those big fights because we've got 37 players still alive here, half the server population and plus as we get into that 13-minute mark.
Yeah, there's a lot of people left and a majority of teams left alive as well. And we've still got a long time to go on this game. We're only 13 minutes into it, into the 3rd circle now. And I mean, these teams are going to start sort of moving and trying to get into the center of the circle. It's going to be hard for them. There's going to be very little cover. There's some hillsides, some bales of hay in the middle of the fields. There's probably going to be a few compounds left right until the very end, but it really depends on where the circle's going to land. And we may see a couple of teams staying just there, like we can see here with LTK just going to be sitting on the sort of the edge of this.
I think
circle.
LTK are probably happy with the change of pace. They had so many fights in the last few rounds that went south for them that, all right, not having anyone to deal with kind of feels like a nice one. So 10 teams still up and available in this game, in this final match of Erangel over by Prison. Looks like there's an MK14 and a care package.
Yeah, it is a really good weapon. We haven't really seen anyone use it so far, though. It's just unfortunately a care package that everyone is going to end up ignoring, I think, for that one. I'm not quite sure where it dropped, but I'm sure we'll see later on. And right now we're still observing 69 SWAT, who did come in as third last game. It's going to be interesting to see where they do land up here. We're going to be seeing a rotation in 2 UAZs. I do appreciate them using 2 different vehicles instead of just bundling into one vehicle, which if it gets blown up, it means they're all dead. So it's good that they are separating.
Always a good idea.
Oh.
963. Oh, man, they're going
And we
far up off the map. We've got liftoff, ladies and gentlemen. What a swag play by LD Rans as they look for the fire down onto 69 SWAT, who have no idea where the heck it's coming from. Unfortunately, 963 lose a lot for that flashy play and don't really get much for it.
That was such a cool play. How did he fail that? He could have had everything.
Yeah, well, it was a very difficult one to execute, and unfortunately, it didn't seem like 69 SWAT were really all that perturbed by it. However, with only 2 knocks, there's still 2 members up and available. They can still make something out of this, and looks like Seif getting knocked down by SWAT 69 on the other fight, but we'll check back in with that one in just a little bit, because this is kind of a lot of chaos for 69 SWAT to have to deal with. BCL and Jasnaya still up.
They should be able to deal with this. I mean, 963 haven't got very many battles won in their belt, but 69 SWAT definitely have, so they may well just be able to win this one out. 963.
BCL, he's almost dropped down. This is going to be rough, and I think this is where the story for 963 is going to end, unfortunately, Tom. It looked like it was such a promising, flashy play, but at the end of the day, it's just Jasnaya, the last man standing, and not any longer as MBJ mows him down. So ending in 9th place, well, at least it was a blaze of glory.
Definitely. And, you know what? I was so impressed because that's one of the things that people had done very early on in PUBG as well, is being able to use that as a ramp, get on top of the building, and then shoot down on the people in the compound whilst your team attacked from a different area. And they almost executed it, but unfortunately it wasn't quite working. And look at this.
Next circle.
So few teams are going to be in this circle, and it's going to be very, very difficult.
But look at MEA. They've managed to get themselves in. Remember, we had kind of just written them off earlier on in this match because so many of them had gone down early and because of what happened the last time around. But now they get themselves into Jasnaya completely undetected. LTK are going to be there as well. And a good 90% of Jasnaya is actually in this next circle.
And LP just passively sitting along the roadside.
As usual.
Having a picnic.
Someone's going to bump up. I mean, I think Nox are pretty close to them at the moment. But let's see what MEA can do with just Abbas and Faustine.
Yeah, just 2 players. It's definitely going to be a potential downfall, but because they've got now a strong position, they may be able to survive for a decent amount of time. And look at this. There may be a firefight coming out from UN very soon if they decide to take shots onto Nox, but Nox seemingly taking a wider path away from those buildings instead.
Oh, this is actually really smart from Nox. They'll pop out just off to the side of the road here in one of their vehicles. The second one soon to come. And LP are actually going to have to come straight towards them. And if they don't know that this is happening, Nox, they've already shown a big proficiency in those firefights. Now here comes KA as well. UN will see them.
Shots are going to be coming in as well, but Samurai going to be able to get past.
Yeah, he does, however. Still got to be careful. Not quite safe just yet because you can see that the Nox members have already kind of set up camp here. Now LP coming in on the opposite side. This is where you're going to start to see those big firefights here, Tom. LP, Aras is going to start running in on point. Rest of the team soon to follow. 69 SWAT, SWAT 69, all in the mix here. They're not quite up to Vesnaya just yet.
Yeah, they have to be very careful. If Aras engages too soon, it could be the
Haji,
end.
Galiko gets the knockdown. Do they have even more? It looks like they do. Mohammed's going to get downed as well. But this time it's by one of the LTK members, I believe.
Yeah, and 69 SWAT have now joined in right into the UN building. They don't care.
They're going to just go for the breach here. You see Master and Hunter the only ones inside of this one. Mind is on the other side of that other complex. But onto the second floor they go, and it looks like Master kind of hanging out there. Is going to chuck a nade. Last Shin backing away. They'll go for a nade breach themselves up to the third floor. But, oh, Hunter might run right into it. Nope, not quite. Very close call, though.
As they push up into this building, they may well realize it's a mistake to play too aggressive because this is a pretty much make or break situation. They have to be careful. If they go out right now, they'll get so few points compared to if they come in the top 4 there.
Yeah, but 69 SWAT are coming for him right now, so it looks like we are going to be in for a couple of breaches. We've seen so many urban final circles today, and it looks like this one will be no different here as Yasnaya starting to get fully populated. LP have found themselves a nice little compound to hide up in, as they are wont to. Nox, meanwhile, look to bide their time as well. Ewan, ooh, Hunter actually had a good sight on Narcos, but he didn't take the shot.
This is actually a really good situation to be in. They need to be able to hold these off angles. He could help his teammates by shooting from a different angle, but
gets down by Lashin. Unfortunately, just not quite as accurate, so Mime just going to be forced to go down one floor here, and it looks like the breach will come in pretty quickly. Samurai, he gets dropped by Ben. Nox already finding a few more pot shots.
Yeah, and unfortunately, he was trying to hold a different level of verticality, so when he sort of tried to shoot on the player,
there's that next circle. It's
above.
All Yasnaya. Tom, we are in for the urban end.
It's what we want to see. You know, we saw it in our last, our final game of yesterday, and we're going to see it again today, but this time...
Alba's getting dropped down.
Yasnaya.
So MEA still alive in this one, but just barely. That's the finishing blow. Lashin's actually going to get knocked as well, but mimed. So UN still having some firepower as they deny the breach.
Yeah, and they're just pushing right up to the top here against 69 SWAT, who had actually...
SWAT 69 come in finally. Hunter's going to get dropped down, though. And everybody's in the circle. That's going to be Master taking out MBJ, finishing the job as well. So 69 SWAT finding themselves not with the easiest breach that they've taken before. UN giving a bit more resistance than to be expected.
Yeah, and
TMP kills.
It's going to be really an interesting situation. And SWAT 69, all they need to do is just survive. They need these big points. They don't need to go in for all the kills like they had done. So really just survive, because then they can launch themselves ahead on the leaderboard and be ready for tomorrow.
You can see that KA are locked in a battle here with Nox. One knock on the Nox member, and not quite down just yet. KA trying to breach into this compound with a handful as well. Got to be careful, though. Nox have shown themselves to be pretty dangerous in urban warfare. Smoke comes in.
That was a really smart play. Captain jumps out the window. He's going to be running up behind Master. Master may not realize it.
And Mime's going to pop himself an energy drink as well. He does have Master 6, but not as well as he could have hoped. Lashin kind of crawling his hands. And Samurai, speaking of, is going to get knocked down by Galiko. Also finishes him off. They're just so fast between the knock and the elimination. This Nox squad.
Yeah, and I mean, it has been their downfall in certain situations, but it does secure them at least 1 point. So still good props for them. KA going to be down to a couple of members here versus Nox, who are taking fire from a couple of places. As this town has got a lot of height to it, unlike Pachinki. There's not too much of a sort of huge buildings, as it were. There's lots of buildings, just not the same size at once as there are here.
Yeah, that's true. This is definitely a lot of those big 3-4 story ones for sure. Nox and KA continue to be in this battle here, but it's a big significant number advantage for Nox. 4v2. Going to be hard for them to take it out, and it looks like Haji and his teammates Swaswar are going to be actually backing away, decide not to take the fight after all. Frag comes through, but it's just an exit.
I mean, those are pretty good names, to be fair. They're getting into them into the windows. Just unfortunately, no one's there. KA have run away, scared, with the tail in between their legs.
Yeah, well, living to fight another day is pretty important, and MEA seem to be adopting the same strategy, because I believe that's the final member of them is Faustine.
Yeah.
And he's just pulling a leaf out of Headhunter's book.
Yeah, he just needs to try and hold on there, because they've been pretty disappointed in the last couple of games. Obviously,
Erangel has not treated them well, it seems. And it's not just in drop locations, but it just they don't seem as comfortable on this map. And that's unfortunate when it's half the map pool. So LP, they're kind of forced into a situation where they're going to be having to watch a couple different angles as well, but they don't know MEA's behind them, or at least Faustine is. Nox now looking to turn their attention to Muhammad. Here's Hama for LPI.
And looking in behind this hay bell, which...
I mean, they have 3 members in a compound and 1 sitting outside. Maurice, though, getting sprayed down. Ben coming up the rear, and it looks like they will be able to finish off 1 more member of KA. However, they still have 2. They've just backed away into a different compound.
And
Mohawk from SWAT 69 getting knocked down by LTK, though.
Yeah, it's a bit of a difficult situation. They are going to go for the rotation here, but unfortunately they're going to lose 2 members on that new sort of location, so it's a bit unfortunate, and they're going to be facing off against 69 SWAT.
69 SWAT getting the better of them right now, and remember, this was the team that was in a 1v1 situation earlier on Miramar today. Faustine just kind of watching it all. He's got his popcorn too, but he's decided he actually wants to go run in a little bit closer, probably to avoid the blue damage, but at the same time, he might be able to squeeze off a few extra shots.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, he shouldn't take any shots. He really needs to just play...
He's behind LPI.
Play a bit slow. Yeah, I mean, when it comes to these kills, we know they're only worth 1, so every placement is a bit more. And look at this, UN going to be coming on the fire.
But La Shin, he's the one who gets the pickup there onto one of their members, and he's going to be priming this Molotov as well. Throws it into the building where UN are. Hunter already downed. Looks like he's got a couple more. That looked like a smoke grenade.
There you go.
Nope.
There's his
There's another Molotov.
Burn.
Back into the house. And that one's on fire, but UN have already moved away. And UN just kind of, unfortunately, getting shot on from all sides here.
Yeah, we've got Ray and Groza left from the SWAT 69 team. LP are going to be moving as well, but LTK may have their number booked and maybe looking to take a couple of shots. Look at MEA, though. Firestein has actually made it inside the circle in a decent position, considering he is only one player.
Yeah, if he can survive out a couple more teams, get himself into a top 5 finish, that's not a total loss right now. It looks like it's going to be that way. LP and LTK losing a couple of members themselves to 69 SWAT, who are just having an absolute field day here on Yasnaya.
There's actually going to be a care package dropping down.
I don't think anyone's going for that one.
You know what? I think you're wrong, because there's one member of LP who may have to move over there on the next circle.
But LP's so far away at this point. I feel like if anybody, KA might grab it as they are the closest.
No, LP, there's still one player left out in the field.
Oh, no, you're right. But KA are going to be moving in that general direction, though, so if he does pop out from the hay bale, he better get those 2 shots.
Yeah, I think he might well just be good throwing a couple of nades, which we may see him do, or take a couple of shots. Ideally, he just wastes that. Isn't M249?
Yeah, I mean, yes, we've seen it used to great effect earlier today. So definitely a good gun, if you will. Narcos laying down heavy fire on the LTK members. All 4 are strong, by the way.
Yeah, have to be careful. I mean, using all this ammo, you never know when you're actually going to run out. This team have 6 kills to their name so far. They need to get a lot more. But we'll see what ends up happening here. LP still got a couple of members left in, 1 in the field, and I think maybe 2 right next to MEA's last member, Palestine.
Nox going for a split right now, and it looks like Narcos is going to get knocked by Mojrem. It's getting pretty tight here in Yasnaya. The final circle going to start to come in pretty shortly. K still have a member up. LTK still have plenty. This is their best performance since Vikendi.
Yeah, so many people. There's 21
There's
people.
Hama. He's like, he just sees it. It's like a piece of cheese, and he just wants to run out and grab it.
Oh, there's going to be a grenade coming out. Is it going to do anything, though?
Oh, blow the car.
That'd be funny if it ran over someone.
Captain knocks down Hunter there. Good shot. He's been the hero of 69 SWAT today, as you mentioned. No kills in this game. Not that that matters, though. And here comes Hama.
And he's going to be sneaking up, and he should have seen these 2 members of KA when they ran out if he was paying any attention. So he should have a decent idea. There is a grenade or smoke going out. I think
that's
right
behind the care package. I mean, if he can creep up on Haji, and he may not have to, actually, because Maurice is going in there, and he didn't expect that shot. Shaswar is going to be able to get the outplay on him.
There's going to be a knock there, but...
And there's Hama. He did it. He actually managed to steal away the kill onto Maurice as well.
But unfortunately, the kill was stolen. Nox trying to push out there, but...
Galiko gets him downed.
Yeah, going to come under fire here.
So yeah, nobody going for that package. It's a little bit late now as Circle's starting to close in here. We can see from above so many teams still alive. 8 teams, 18 players. We're at 26.5 minutes. This is getting real crowded.
Yeah, it's getting very tight here, so we're going to be seeing a lot of firefights any moment now. I mean, you can hear the shots coming out, but are they landing anything?
All right,
yes, they are.
Narcos finding the UN members. They've been hunting for them for a long time. That will be one finishing blow off onto Mimed, and still one UN member up and available, but just about everybody's decided to party inside this house, and it keeps on going. Falastine gets a knock on a Galiko. If he could get the finish, a little extra point for the MEA member. Might not go amiss, but he's got to be careful. Getting dropped down by Ben. Instant revenge, and that will be MEA going out in 7th.
Considering the situation they're in, that was really good from them. But Nox are going to be coming under pressure from a couple of teams. Say UN above them, as well as SWAT 69 going to be coming around the side. It's going to be Ray.
There we go, moving around. Let's see if Nox can get the outplay onto the SWAT 69 members. Ben is going to get knocked, and looks like that'll be it as well. Oh, Nox lose everyone, and they will go out in 6th place after the chicken dinner. Still can't be too upset about that one, considering how far along they place. Master will get knocked onto his hands and knees, and LTK will take charge. This is the best they have looked in a while.
Yeah, and this is the final circle. I can't really say who has the best position here because it's so crowded. I think even LDK have a decent chance, but they're going to have to move out in the open, but I think they may be able to get behind hard cover close to the center unless SWAT 69 do something about it. And unfortunately, Groza is going to be very low on HP. Ray's going to get knocked.
Yeah, and he gets taken out. Lashin gets the finishing blow onto him. Groza gets taken out by Narcos as well. So 69 SWAT will be able to finish off SWAT 69 in 5th place.
Look at this creepy crawly from KA here around the side. Lashin going in for the rotation.
Lashin goes around the side. LTK, they've been biding their time as well. Mojrem and 9-9 on the front. In that ghillie suit, trying to keep himself as hidden as possible. Speaking of hidden, there's a lot of sneaky action happening. Hunter is still alive in this, but look at his health bar. He's so close to getting knocked.
He's going to be the bane of them, but look who's right behind him. It's going to be KA coming up, knocking him down, and that's going to be them out for the count, going out in 4th position. KA
Nice job.
somehow still alive right now.
And that's just Shaswar, I believe. That's the last man standing. And oh, excuse me, it's Haji that's actually going to be going forward. 9-9, going to try to get into this fight with 69 SWAT, and down to 3 teams in the final. Here we go. Kind of does move out into the open. Really no spots for anyone to be available in. And Lashin goes for the run, but he gets mowed down by Mojrem at the end of the day. LTK looking so good, but just about everybody up. And we are down into 2 teams. It is Haji, the final member of KA, has made it into the top 2.
How has he done this? He literally he ran through the open, got into this hut. He managed to heal up, and now he's going to be in a situation which he can't really win, but it doesn't even really matter at this point. He's got himself into 2nd position, and they know where he is, so they're going to be looking to take.
I mean, he should just go and run for it at this point. He knows that the rest of the team is alive. Might as well try and see if he can get a kill off. And nope, he goes for it, and that is the chicken dinner coming in for LTK. So the round comes full circle after Vikendi. We didn't see much of this team, but they turn around and finish off Erangel.
That was a really nice play coming in from LTK. They just held their position. They managed to get the kills. And, I mean, it was a decent chunk of kills as well, coming in at 9 kills total for LT in 1st place. 2nd place, KA with only 2 kills. And then we have in 3rd place the good old 69 SWAT, actually, not SWAT 69.
Yeah, SWAT 69 ended up going out in 5th place because they were eliminated by 69 SWAT. So after Miramar, things really kind of turned on their heads, and that was really impressive.
Yeah, and the consistency has really come out for 69 SWAT.
And Lashin especially.
Oh, definitely. I mean, they just got another 11-kill game. So on top of the 3rd position, if I'm right in saying they got.
Yeah, that was a 3rd place for 69 SWAT because KA ended up eking into that 6th thanks to Haji's positioning. But I think of the 2 69 squads, that is going to really put them over the edge there, despite the fact that SWAT 69 picked up a whopping 50 points out of 1 round on Miramar.
Consistency trumps.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And honestly, like, really good performance out of them, especially at the start of the day when we just didn't see this team on Vikendi, quite literally.
I mean, it's insane. I mean, I want to see the standings, and obviously you'll be able to go and see them later on. But it's going to be interesting to see where they land in total on the leaderboard. Are they going to overtake these guys? But let's have a quick look at the highlights here.
It all started with SMP actually getting some revenge from the last round onto LND, and then there were a couple of quick firefights scattered away. MEA lost out pretty big, but they managed to stay alive for a while, and, you know, as we said, placed into that 7th place, so not too bad for them. Well, 46 Loot didn't get so lucky.
Yeah, they had a opportunity.
Oh, this was so fun. I love this from 963, the jump out onto the roof, but the execution just wasn't quite good enough, and, well, that was the end of it. SMP, they kind of got eliminated after the fact there, and there were a couple of nutty firefights inside this house here on Yasnaya, but they tended to go the way of 69 SWAT more often than not, and you could just see these highlights keep on coming.
They were just railing people here, and Nox tried pushing out here into this behind this wall. They didn't check it first of all, so they got punished. Then Narcos still going to be getting more kills, just racking up the kills. Finally going to be able to get down one of the last members of UN.
It was so many kills for the 69 SWAT squad. And now LTK got 9 themselves, so they definitely did some solid play, but it seemed like they didn't quite have as many highlights, as many flashy plays. They usually came into the end here with 9-9, going into the breach, and you could see Red Bull coming up around the side. That was it, with Haji trying to go for the breach. So we see the standings at the end of the day. Still sitting in 1st place is the real deal with 114 points. But LTK are creeping up there in 3rd with 96 after 4 rounds. And they do have a significant number of frags. They're not too far behind 7 Reef Team, who are 2nd place.
That's really impressive that they've managed to creep all the way up into 3rd place. And then, not to say anything else, but 7th and 8th place, 69
SWAT and SWAT 69. It's 1 point separating these two. It's crazy. But look at the difference in placements versus frags.
Yeah, that is crazy. I mean, fair play. And I mean, yeah, SWAT 69, sure, they have 50 points in placement points, but it's nothing compared to the consistency of 69 SWAT.
Now, I believe Nox moved up one position there after that last round, so they get themselves a decent placement and get total of 77 points. Light Pirates not too far behind them because, if nothing else, they are survivors, even if they don't pick up a whole lot of frags. And that really does put them over the likes of Executor and a couple of those other squads that we saw. Emmy Assassins do manage to get themselves into a decent position after a couple of rough rounds on Erangel.
Yeah.
A little bit of survival there. Falstein at the end does net his team a few extra points, and they end up with 59.
I think if as long as they make it into the top 16, that's definitely positive. I think we've actually got about equal amount of teams.
Yeah,
both
it seems
squads
like it's
on
been
there.
equally competitive for the most part, but it was more consistent, I felt, yesterday. Today, it did seem like there was a lot of teams kind of all over the place with a couple different performances. Now, here in 25 through 32, 963, unfortunately, still in 25th place, but they did pick up a couple of more that time around. Placement-wise, they did a little bit better, but still yet to get that frag, although they really tried for it with that little Dukes of Hazzard play going up and flying over the building.
You have to love those moments in PUBG when they go for those loud sort of explosive movements where they go for the ramp, lands, and then it's a bit of a comical moment when you don't get any kills in the end because
you got to risk it for the biscuit, though. That's the thing. Like, at this point, you know that you are not getting a whole lot, but unfortunately, they dropped it on the ground. 5-second rule, you don't want to pick it up after that.
Exactly.
And they got mowed down. But it was a nice try, and I like to see more of this team next week, or if you see them tomorrow or the next day.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see if they're able to actually come back and make a performance. I mean, they're very much at the bottom of the leaderboard as it goes, and they will be for the future ones as well. There's obviously teams that haven't played so far; they've just not turned up, and they're not going to be able to come back into this at all. It's just a little bit too late for that one. But the rest of the teams have done really well so far. Like we mentioned last time, it'd be good to be able to speak to any of you guys who want to come and speak to us.
Absolutely. So, that's going to be it for us today. We will, of course, return once again. It will be 8 p.m. Central European Summertime. But before we go, we do want to let you guys know that you can catch all this information, including VODs, over at clubopen.pubgmobile.com. You'll also get up-to-date standings to check out your favorite teams and how they are doing. In addition to that, you can also check out not just this channel, but all of the Club Open over at youtube.com/PUBGMobile Esports. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button in addition to the notifications to make sure you do not miss a minute when we go live. It's good stuff.
Yeah, not too bad. And you know what? I want you guys to go and make sure to check us out on YouTube as well, which is
youtube.com/PUBGMobile Esports.
Yeah, and
it's a good channel. It's a good channel name.
Again. Yeah. Ding dong that notification bell.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's going to do it for us today. So thank you so much for watching on behalf of all of us here. So we'll see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. Central European Summertime, and we are signing off for now. More of the PUBG Mobile Club Open will continue just then.